idea functionally what I'm doing.
Months until I'm customizing my pussy lips. I'm very excited.
For fucking the giggles.
Yo, you ain't getting a candy bar, bitch.
I have 1 round left. Just enough for myself.
It's a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, we're back after
High
what,
energy
2 weeks.
podcast.
That was just a week.
Has it been 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks,
we-
I think.
Oh wow.
Nice.
2 weeks. We were busy not caring about you, our viewers.
It's true. That's why I told them to fuck off every
You
week.
didn't cross my mind once.
You know, it's also funny is at the time of this recording, I still haven't finished editing the last one, so technically it's 3 weeks.
Oh
I know,
wow.
I could tell because I never saw the thumbnail in my sub feed, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then I clicked the Camelcast channel like yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah, he never uploaded it."
Yeah, sorry, I've been very, very, very busy.
Yeah, it's not okay. You know, we have to have talk.
We're gonna have to have a meeting, a sit down. You know.
Yeah, upper management's not having a good time.
We're gonna have to talk about your job performance.
Pretty bad, man.
Well, I mean, if anyone else wants to edit this, it's fine.
Formal reprimand is in the mail.
That's why we pay you, Anthony.
Yeah, well,
That's
no,
true. Yeah.
pay him. What are you talking about?
Editor slash
No
smooth
payment.
D.
He gets paid in the spring since
It's
this
a
was his
commission
idea.
job. If no videos go out, you don't get paid.
I get paid in 5 views bi-weekly.
It's a lot of ad revenue.
It's a lot. It's tons.
We all get
I
we
should
all get a
put-
penny.
I should put ads on our videos just to
But
scare
definitely nobody watches.
away the few people that remain.
On record, I will advertise the shit out of like Manscaped products or Raid Shadow Legends, fucking Squatch soap. I don't care, dude.
Absolutely.
Give me
I
money.
fell out in a heartbeat, dude.
Every
Fleshlight.
Have you guys seen the bigger balls ad?
What?
I came across it a couple of days ago. It was pretty amazing. It's for some like supplement thing, and it's actually for something completely different. But for whatever reason, because it's one of those things where there's like a 20-minute YouTube video, but this is like a 30-second to 1 minute snippet of that giant video. Just like that weight loss guy was just like, cardio sucks, but it's for some sort of supplement, and for whatever reason it's just like, and it has the side effect of giving you bigger balls, and that's literally how it opens.
No, I've not heard that.
Oh.
I gotta find it. I sent
Fucking
it.
Seaman X want to fucking sponsor us? I'll
Seaman
fucking talk
X.
about that.
On you fleshlights. I'll sell them.
Yeah, we'll talk about anything.
Any natural male enhancers? Like I'm with Brandon. I will sell out for money.
I can
Fleshlights.
describe anything in a very endearing way.
Someone email Fleshlight and tell them that we have 5 people that we would love to sell fleshlights to.
Yeah, these 5 people, that's what they need. That's what they want.
Put us a check for the low price of like $5,000. We'll we'll sell fleshlights to our 5 viewers.
We'll do anything to our fucking viewers.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be $5,000.
5,000.
I mean, that's your price. I'll do it for cheaper.
No, $1,000. Well, you're on the same podcast as me, so that works. $1,000 per viewer.
And person, right?
Who's our fifth getting the 1,000?
I said 5 viewers, like $1,000 per viewer. We have 5 viewers.
No, that was
We
me.
can figure out the split.
I guess we like the last 1,000 will be split up between Matt and Sean because they've been on some episodes, but it's just a one-time thing.
Oh, but are they on the Fleshlight episodes?
True.
True. I need to hear Sean say, "I endorse fleshlights."
We make the deal, but we make Sean do the ad read.
Yeah.
We're like, Sean, you should come on this podcast, man. It's gonna be a really special one. And then at the last second, we're like, but you have to read this.
I would also I would like to hear Matt do an ad read too. Because I just the way I imagine him doing it's like, yo, so this is this product? Shit. Like just you
But
know the way Matt is.
The reason why that it's funnier if it's Sean is because I don't think Sean would want to do it. I think Matt, very much like us, would do an ad read for Fleshlights.
Definitely.
Sean would be like jumping it on Sean. There's hilarity there in my mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because he wouldn't want to do
Fleshlight
it,
ad
and it's also double funny for me because it's like he went to school for that, but he doesn't want to do it.
That's true. You know what?
True, actually. And then once we hook him with an ad read, like he's in, right? Because at that point he needs to be paid, right?
Right.
Because he's on the podcast doing an ad read. And once money has exchanged hands, then we can easily force him into running our social media. He can't say no.
We're
Yeah.
paying him.
Yeah,
See?
that's
Yeah.
just more money.
This is the trap. This is the frame trap. I got him with the mix-up.
The trap that is employment.
I like this foolproof plan. Now all we need is fleshlights.
All we
That's
need
true.
to do is not announce. Nah, he doesn't watch our videos. It's fine. He won't know. We'll still surprise him.
See, I just
absolutely
want to know who's going to be the Chad and actually email the Fleshlight company and just be like, hey, please.
Business email?
We
It's
do have a
Camelcast
business email.
email? Do it
We
from
do?
that.
Yeah, Camelcast is not under, like my personal email. It is under the Camelcast email.
Nice. Email them from the fucking Camelcast email.
Dude, the worst they could do is just not respond. Like,
They won't because we have like 5 views. They'll Google us and they'll YouTube search us and they'll be like,
Who the fuck are these guys?
this is a joke.
but maybe, out of pity, maybe they send us a Fleshlight. Just one.
I'll take
One communal.
Oh, no.
Singular
We
fleshlight.
have to wash and pass around. And only
Communal fleshlight
Brent,
reviews.
that's a song name. One communal Fleshlight.
And only after we've all used it once will they actually sponsor us. They need proof of usage from each person,
All right.
and then they'll cut us a check.
So who gets it first and who gets it last?
I'm not getting it last.
No, I'm not getting the
I
last.
mean, it's getting washed. What's the matter?
Okay,
It's
Richie
a
gets the
fair
last.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, if everyone's scared
Really
of being last, but we're fucking deep cleaning it, so who matter to get it? But
So it's decided. Richie will get it last.
I'll take second last.
I don't understand.
Alright,
Like,
I'll go first.
you,
Brendan, you're fighting me for that first slot.
No, it's too late. I said it before you.
wait a
so
second. You bang a girl no matter how many dicks she's had, right?
That's true.
That's fair.
And this we could actually bleach. You can't bleach a girl. Well, I mean, you could, but it's not really legal.
Yeah, all right. See, some people
Hang
would
on,
do that.
We're getting.
Speaking of Saudi Arabia,
Oh,
I'm now going on my computer, not in incognito mode, to fleshlight.com to see if they have an email.
you guys want the
That's-
password to the email? I could give you that.
He's trying to get out of sending the email.
No, this way we can we could multi-team. That way we have the combined reviews of
Just here we go. This is how.
Fleshlights,
dude,
Hot Pockets, and
just
Raid
ask
Shadow Legends.
Sean. Just ask Sean to write a generic email, like sponsor us. We're these people, and then just send it to that site, so
yes.
Sean can do it.
That'd be cool. But then if Sean writes us up a template of just like it's not company specific, it's just a nice template.
It's literally just
We-
like
we can
ad
tweak
libs.
it.
we can just spam it to all kinds of companies
fucking
looking for fat
Bad
chefs.
Dragon, everything.
I'll hawk fucking Bad Dragon right next to my fleshlight.
I still regret not buying the Bad Dragon Giant Silicone D20. Like to this day, that haunts me. I had the
Wait,
money,
they
I had
had
the
a-
time.
D20.
Yeah, they did a limited run of just a giant fucking silicone D20, and it burns me to the core that I didn't pick it up.
Hey, Bad Dragon, we're all nerds. Bring back the giant silicone D20, and we'll sell it for you on this podcast to our 5 viewers. For
I'll
the
buy
local-
it. Not only do I endorse it, I'm their #1 customer.
You'll buy for
They have
200.
they have a customer service email. I don't see anything else. What do we do? Randomly send it to their customer service email. Hey, send this to your boss.
Ugh.
See, that's why we need like a Twitter. We need someone to be running a Twitter so we can like tweet at Fleshlight and be like, "Hey, we have so many views, and we would love to sell fleshlights on our."
Which, if we
podcast."
did that, I guarantee you we get more views.
That's
Probably,
true.
yeah. The problem is nobody here wants to run a fucking social media account, so and we don't.
Which is crazy because we have a
Podcast.
friend who literally went to school for that.
Well, he's not. But he's not on the podcast, so I can't. He's on the podcast for like 15 minutes at a time, and then he leaves. So I guess I can understand why he wouldn't want to do it. Frankly, the 4 people who are on it every week for the entire episode, you'd think one of us would be doing it, but we're not.
I mean, I don't have even a social media account for myself.
Don't you have a Facebook now?
I mean, it's defunct, but it exists.
I mean,
Not that Facebook is the way to go. I'm implying we
I'm
should have
not.
Twitter or something like that.
I'm too busy to honestly do it, to just troll Twitter looking for shit to post on.
I feel like most of us could just do it though, regardless of how busy we are, because I honestly don't think it's that hard. I feel like all we have to do is make a fucking Twitter account, and then you give the fucking information to literally all of us.
reply to
And-
every political
No,
politician
no.
post.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
No. That's the moment I have to leave the podcast. The second I go on it and I see one person tweeting some crazy shit, and I'm like,
Wait. What if we go to like a Trump theme post and we're like, sponsored by Fleshlight?
No,
Sure.
but the post isn't. We are. Oh, that's how we could argue it. They'd be like, dude, this isn't sponsored by Fleshlight, and then we're like, but we are. That's why did you read into that wrong?
check us out. We're so awesome. We have a Fleshlight sponsorship.
I don't know, but see that makes it political though. If you like,
What if like, all right, so we have the fake snow conspiracies out now in Texas. What if we're like, yeah, fake snow is cool. You want to know what else is cool? Fleshlights. Come check us out. Get a
Gotta
free
stay
fleshlight.
warm
That's a lot of camels.
in below temperatures? Well, we have a product for you. Use it to carry your dwindling
like-
water supply.
Much like Obama and the Clintons, this fleshlight sucks you real good.
Oh God.
So that like QAnon post, you know. I guess reference for people. It's because they suck the blood of children to stay young.
Oh,
What happens if that's accidentally massively successful, and then our entire audience is just like QAnon
Crazy
people?
QAnon people.
Why do you say that like it's a bad thing? Their money is still money.
Camel-cast,
Yeah, I
That's
guess
true.
money's green no matter who it is.
And they're crazy, so they'll be more willing to part with it. So when we have merch and shit, and then we can put QAnon stuff on Camelcast merch, you know, and then they'll fucking buy that shit up.
We could start Camelon.
No.
The conspiracy that all
Conspiracy
liberal.
camels.
Oh,
Camels.
yeah. Camel
told me there's
conspiracy
gonna be
cast.
a
Camel
military coup.
conspiracy.
The Great Camel said the military's gonna do a coup and the snow is fake. So I need to buy all their merch.
The frickin' snow is turning the frogs gay.
Turn the frickin'
I think we're on to something here. See, we're coming at this.
Sacrifice the child.
We're coming at this from the wrong angle. We're trying to get the level-headed like gamer audience.
We
to,
would
like, watch
never
the podcast.
trying to get the level-headed gamer audience.
All right, we're trying to get some measure of headed person who also happens to be a gaming individual to listen to this podcast, but that was wrong. What we have to do is target the crazies, right? Because they're ready and willing to listen to all kinds of dumb shit.
Oh no,
That's
our
part of their
5
money.
audience members
We-
are you considering yourselves crazy, and will you?
We get the QAnon following, and then like we like hashtag Marjorie Taylor Greene, and maybe she responds to us, dude. She responds to crazy
Oh
shit,
my god! All we need is one retweet.
and then we're on
It
CNN,
is
dude.
one
And then we're on
fucking-
CNN. We're fucking mainstream.
We're right up there with like militia groups and shit. Like right on CNN. It was like, and are the Camelcast related to the fucking insert right-wing extremist group here or whatever?
Did the Camelcast play in January 6th Capitol riots?
Oh, that's gonna be so good. Like as they're talking about, like, oh yeah, the separatist conspiracy groups such as such as Proud Boys and the Camel Cast.
House Subpoena's 4 kids living in their parents' homes. Connections to the Capitol riot.
Yeah, four dudes just living.
Yeah, they would not use the descriptor kids. We were
Yeah,
way
true,
too old for
men.
that.
Yeah. Sad men.
Yeah. Sorry, I forget our age sometimes.
I'm not.
Oh god, I love it.
Fucking birthday soon. I think I remember my fucking age.
I sit there in my suit across from all the fucking house people, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but money.
But you don't understand.
Are you boys paying me? No? Then I'm going to keep doing this. Okay, goodbye.
Is it illegal?
Is it illegal?
It is not.
Listen, I brought
Promotion.
everyone a free fleshlight. Show up to our fucking house hearing with free fleshlights for every member.
This
Start
isn't a
calling
bribe.
Oprah,
This
Oprah,
is merely an
Oprah.
endorsement
You
of a
get the
good
fleshlight.
product.
Why'd
Trying to
you
give
get the
Bernie
fleshlight?
Sanders a
And
flashlight.
everyone gets some flashlights.
That's how we get Bernie Sanders on our side. It's like
Yeah,
the
with
top
fleshlights.
1% have all the fleshlights.
Once
Looking at
again,
the
We're getting it to the
camera, looking at
masses.
the camera, just as these liberals suck, so does this fleshlight. With
Oh,
Hoover level suction.
The Max 2 sucked.
The
would
Auto
like to
Blow
go-
3.
I want to go about this in a way where we aren't labeled as like a crazy extremist group. You know, like that would be nice. But I do think that the strategy of targeting the crazies is a market that we did not consider.
I mean, you boys already associate with me. It's only a matter of time.
We
Yeah,
can
that's-
make like
that's a fair
a
point.
Parlor account, start posting on Parlor, you know.
That's true. Well, I mean, we can't. Not right now, but...
I thought Parlor was back open.
Is it back up?
I thought it was.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either.
I mean, I wouldn't know, but I thought I heard it was back open.
And then we could
Googling it.
We could put mini constitutions with all of our fleshlights.
And then once we get Marjorie Taylor Greene on our side, it's only a matter of time before the big orange Cheeto endorses us.
Could you imagine that reality? That'd be so
I'm imagining this entire reality,
strange.
and I'm imagining how much I want to make it real.
Do you though?
No, actually, I kind of don't. I mean, for the money and the merch sales and the sponsorships, yeah, a little bit. But I think I'd go to bed every night, you know, crying myself to sleep.
Really? I wouldn't, because we'd be taking money away from crazy people, so...
Point. Money we take from crazy QAnon supporters is money they can't spend on dumb shit that they use to storm the Capitol building.
Again, I
That's
Why target one group of crazies? There's so many now. We could go.
Target all the crazies.
Yeah, we can be the first hyper conspiracy movement that plays to all conspiracy theorists.
yeah.
So that way, and then they're fighting in the comments, and that increases engagement. It just gets us more views. I mean,
Yeah, we pit QAnon against flat earthers.
Are we now broaching the topic of are we now getting to the area of actually changing the meat of the podcast to like not talk about just gaming related stuff, but like literally become like a crazy conspiracy podcast? Or are we just going to like tweet stuff and retweet stuff and talk to these people to get them to watch, but then we just carry out the podcast like we normally do, as if we like don't acknowledge.
I picture it as that second option.
well, I feel like it would be like an ad read because you can't like false advertise. So at like one point there'd be a section where we'd be like, oh, and also snow
Almost
isn't
a
real.
lizard or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
I always
Dude.
thought we would just like tweet and retweet and post dumb ad shit on these places just to get them to view
Well,
us.
that's how we start.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see how it evolves.
And then it just becomes like clickbait at that point. They're
Right.
really just clicking on us because they like our comments on the conspiracy shit.
The second we see the numbers start to dip, that's when we go into panic mode, and it's like break glass to retain QAnon viewership, and then we have to like start having the ad reads that Anthony's talking about. Like the second they come and they realize that we're not talking about it, that's the moment where it's like, all right, slip
So
in a
instantly?
15-second segment. Yeah, so slip in a 15-second segment about Hillary Clinton sucking kids' blood in the basement of a pizza parlor or whatever, and then like, you know what I mean? And then like,
we talking about Hillary Clinton? Or we talking about the next Five Nights at Freddy's game?
Both.
I mean, they're pretty similar.
Fair enough.
Both
you
You know,
listen-
and we
children.
we could work it into like our weeks instead of the news. Be like, yeah, I sat here in constant fear of the Jewish space lasers.
That's true. They're already targeting California. You're next.
Shit. I like it. I love this plan. We
It's
just get a
hilarious.
Twitter.
But none of us are gonna actually do it.
Oh, you don't know that.
Oh, you know what? Prove me wrong.
Don't say that.
Prove me wrong.
Say none of us are actually gonna do it because tomorrow you're gonna see like Anthony's gonna link a new Twitter account in the fucking thing.
No,
like
I'm
that.
not gonna do that. I have a moral objection to social media.
For business purposes, like for promotion. See, this is why we have 5 viewers. The guy who runs the podcast.
You know what's
the
the best
moral-
version of this is at the end of this, we're gonna be forcing Sean to do this.
Yeah, it's not gonna work unless
We pay him a lot.
the entrapment plan with the fleshlight ad read. That's the only way.
That's true. Like, at what point does he just become like an accomplice to all this?
Fleshlight ad read.
Yeah, like he's gonna give us the generic template, and then we're gonna take that template and just spam it out on all these things. So it's like, Sean, you basically already have your fingerprint on this. Like we're putting you in the credits.
Your hands are stained with blood.
Really, what we have to do is we have to make the Twitter account, right? Begin the crazy extremist propaganda train without Sean knowing. Like we start it, then we get him on here and we go, listen, we actually have a sponsor. Do you want to start making some money off the podcast? And I guarantee you he'd fucking say yes, right? Then we jump on him that it's a fleshlight ad read. So first we get him there. He has to read the fleshlight ad read, and then we go, all right, now you're on the books. We're paying you. We have a social media account none of us want to run, so please do that for us. And now he's suckered into promoting us to like QAnoners and shit like that.
I don't
He has
know
no
if
choice.
suckered in is the right, because then we're like we have to tell him what to
get
post
money.
on, and we can't
He's
really control that.
Always getting some. Always get. Well, okay. So we'll still have the information to the Twitter account, right? So like he will do normal promotion, but every once in a while, one of us just signs in and retweets some heinous shit. Crazy.
And then he has to deal with it.
Yeah,
because
and
he's
then
the social.
deal with it. So he's doing the normal shit, and we're just like, and we just kind of like slip in, you know, and retweet some QAnon shit or whatever, some Jewish space laser stuff.
That's fucking funny.
You just have to live in that reality.
I love that. And then even on the podcast next week, we'd be like, dude, Sean, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, what was that? Sorry, we all apologize. We do not share the beliefs of the one person on the podcast. We're very sorry.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's how we
Sometimes-
play. That's how we play all sides, too. Is that, you know, now it's not exclusively QAnon guys come. They do for the one member, air quotes, but then, you know, we can maybe get other people, too.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, I was actually gonna backstep on that a little bit. Like we actually can't, due to our original plan, downplay Sean's tweets if we want the crazies, which was the whole point.
No, oh,
You know?
wait, reverse, hype it up. Just be like, good post, Sean.
Yeah, good shit, Sean. And we all
Sean,
golf.
hell yeah.
into our fucking
Yeah,
microphones.
And then he's like, what are you talking
No.
about?
No. But like now we're like, yeah, we really feel that story, man.
I really agree. The Jewish space lasers are a serious issue, and they should be hacked into and
Dude.
used to nuke all
Brandon,
liberals off.
Someone's doing the lasers.
Bren, snow shouldn't turn black.
That's right, Sean.
Why is it not melting?
Fake snow, Sean. You're damn right. Anyway, onto the news.
Well, what, are we gonna do weeks or just?
Brainstorm.
No, I'm saying like hypothetically, like that would be the conversation. We'd be like, yeah, Sean, absolutely, the snow is fake. So anyway, Bethesda or whatever.
Oh,
mean,
we sandbag him defending himself.
Yeah, anyway, give him a shot. Just roll right from space lasers and fake snow. in
The worst
fucking-
part is he let himself get sandbagged too. He would.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sean's becoming a man now before our very eyes.
I still
Thank
think he
God.
let himself.
Thank God he doesn't listen to this shit.
He's talking to me about buying a revolver.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it crazy? Sean, goddamn last name. Wow, I almost fucked that up.
Wow.
Wow,
Pick
you almost fucking.
I
fucked up.
stopped. I stopped. It's good. And you know why he said he was considering it? To defend his girl. How the world
Wow.
is upside fucking
Wow.
down, my friends.
Very manly.
Put in the conspiracy music right now.
Yeah.
Very, very
It's fucking
manly.
burning, everyone. You want to know why?
He's been drinking the
Everyone's-
anti-soy.
Everyone's for gun control until they need to cap a motherfucker.
Exactly.
Very manly.
We're still working on the plan to forcibly give Brandon a gun so that we.
Miss.
I mean,
You have
Brandon has
gun.
a gun in the house.
That's well, no,
Okay,
but
yeah,
his
that's all.
own that he would.
well, I mean, it's a
don't
communal
think he
gun.
will.
It's fine.
You guys seem to think I'm like giga anti-gun. I've
I
noticed
have
this
no
recently,
idea if your gun
and I
does.
kind of just allow you guys to talk
When have
like
I
that.
ever said that?
I don't know.
I
You
mean,
seem,
Anthony,
you seem the most
constantly-
resistant.
I
I
am.
would say.
I'm resistant to doing it as a hobby because I don't see the
Okay.
point, and it's fun to me. I'm not like, oh man, I need to go buy a rifle, but I'm also not like take everyone's guns forever. Like certain guns, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I
As
don't
much
wanna
as
get
as much as I would love to have this conversation, I'm gonna nip that. We haven't made the post yet, so I'm gonna put a pin in that.
I can't
we
talk
could use this as our pro Second Amendment podcast.
Yeah,
You know, bring
I
in
can't
those
talk
people.
about my mild gun control beliefs, and because then I will turn off all the QAnoners, so I have to stop where I'm starting.
Yeah, that's true. We got to lay the
Where the
foundation.
Oh, wait a
and-
second. Wait a second. We can have the next video be like have someone post on like a pro Second Amendment thing, and then like that next video be like, who posted on that? It wasn't any of us, and just have you be silent.
That's
Like,
literally.
you know, you could be like the closet gun lover.
But I mean, I'm an active gun lover. Like, we don't need to. We don't need to fabricate that story. What do you think I do in my free time a lot?
That's true. You did just get body armor.
I wasn't even gonna bring that up.
You got legitimate body armor.
I did.
Oh, and a copy of the Declaration of Independence
Hell yeah.
and
Wait,
the
they come with it or
Constitution.
did You
Yeah.
buy one.
No, here's the thing too. Okay, so I guess this is weeks now, and I'll start with mine. I bought body
Yeah,
armor.
this is the story I want.
So, I initially didn't even really look at the website because I was linked to it because someone was like, "This is a crazy good sale," and it was a crazy good sale. It was very good plates for priced less
I'm
than.
not even.
I'm sorry. The
Yeah, I'm-
concept of crazy good sale on body armor is so absurd. to
I'm not
me.
even going to touch on all the red flags of. I didn't even care about what the site was. It just was a sale on body armor.
Guys, there's a crazy good sale on this thing that you
I mean,
totally
that's
have an everyday
capitalism right
usage
there.
for.
Literally been like, storm the Capitol January 6th.
I would give a shit. Armor is armor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
God.
it's not like I bought their armor. It's a brand, you know. It's made by a manufacturer. It's the same as buying like an Oral-B toothbrush. It doesn't matter what website you buy it from.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at where you hypothetically got it from or why it was on sale. I'm more so laughing at the concept of body armor on sale in general. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Anyway,
That's something that I've always like. You don't think of it as consumer products, but they are now, and it's
Oh.
I don't know, or I should say
It-
they have been.
Was the sale price like, wow, good sale, or was it like, wow, I never want to test why this was on sale?
Well, again, that doesn't matter because the plates are rated. It's not going to go on sale because they're faulty. Like that they're tested. This is actual. There's a lot of tests. in
Are
order
you
to
sure
sell
they're
body armor.
authentic?
Yeah. They have
Are
the
you
badge.
willing to get shot in the chest to
it
prove
wasn't
it?
like it wasn't like a website you had to Google Translate from like Mandarin or something
No,
like that.
no.
Like, I'm sure.
Well, and
that they're
and
not.
this is what I'm getting around to is after I bought it and received it and it's good and I'm excited. I went back to the website to look at the actual website and all it is like Constitution, Founding Fathers. Like Ben Franklin is on every page.
Good old Ben.
They, as I said in the Discord message, they know their market.
They sure do.
Understand the belief system of the people they're selling this armor to very well.
What's it rated?
Level 4. Like really
So
good, too.
will that stop your RFB? Your
Yes.
7.62.
It's actually the specific plate is rated to stop 6 rounds of M80.
So we're gonna
Markov
have a
told me that's not
video. We're gonna have a video where we shoot you in the chest,
It's
right?
too expensive for me to do that. I can't keep
Yeah.
buying these
If you
plates.
want us to shoot Anthony in the chest,
Like, okay, so I
Please
had this
subscribe.
conversation with my boss.
Oh, wait. At 200 subscribers, we will shoot Anthony into the chest.
I'm not shooting Anthony in the
Yeah,
chest.
can't we just
Yeah.
shoot the armor plate? Do I have to be wearing it? Like,
Oh, I mean, you know,
no.
I guess.
For the excitement. He bought it, but he doesn't want to get shot in it. Okay.
No, I
It's
do.
life great.
I mean, its purpose is to get shot in it, but I don't want to needlessly get shot in it. I want it
It's for
to be.
post-Malone's apocalypse.
also Richie put a
Yeah,
low
exactly.
number 200.
Yeah, 200's fairly low.
Can we get
Well, I
to
mean-
that?
Hold on, wait a second. At 100 subscribers, I said I was going to kill myself.
You know, touche.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Actually.
technically,
We're
I don't
setting
need to honor the deal. I could agree to that, and then.
Well,
I mean, you
you
would
know.
haunt me, but that's about it.
very low bars here on these
Like,
soft bonuses.
But anyway,
Can we get to the more interesting topic of conversation? I feel, which is you've spoken about this in the past, and I don't remember if you've spoken about it on the podcast or not. Maybe you did, once briefly.
Mhm.
But I'd more so like to delve into the decision-making process here and understand, and get it on recording. If you're willing to talk about it, if you're not, we can
Of course.
skip over it. But if you're willing to talk about it, what's up? Why are you buying body armor? What's the reasoning? Because the guns, I'm not into guns the way you guys are. Clearly, I don't derive any enjoyment from the hypothetical scenario of me owning a rifle. I just don't.
so
get
armor's super
from that.
crazy to you.
But I'm like, no. Let me finish.
I
But
mean, I'll kind of agree.
hold on, let me finish. But I can kind of understand it. I'm not into it, but I'm like, all right, whatever. Guy wants to own a rifle, sure. I don't care. I'm not gonna do it, but if he wants to do it, that's fine. I can see how people would have fun with that. However, the armor is I don't that I have more difficulty understanding and
I
coming
mean,
to terms.
again,
I'd love to hear-
this is Anthony's question, but I don't think it comes from a place of quote unquote fun.
What?
Hold
the
on,
guns
that's why I'm
or the
asking.
armor?
No, the
shit.
armor.
No,
No,
let's hear it.
Yeah, it
Explain.
comes from a place of fun. I think this stuff is. I really like technology, especially military technology and stuff like that. I've always been into that, even as a kid. When I was 5, I had a poster of just jets and shit. And
So it's like collector value.
well, it's not really collector because this isn't a historic armor. This is modern
Very
body armor.
modern.
So it's just the fact that I think guns are fucking technological marvels. So I think the thing that could stop them are also technological marvels. And while it's expensive, it's not terribly expensive. It's basically the same argument I had with the gas mask, where it's I understand that just owning a gas mask kind of makes you crazy, because why the fuck would you need it? But at the same time, it's sunk cost fallacy within myself. I may never use this, but spending a little bit of money, and then if I ever do need it, have it, is worth it for that. My life is worth estimated $600 for, gas mask, armor, and a rig. And that's a series of threats I never have to worry about again. I'm paranoid.
This is where, yeah, okay. So this is where your brain and my brain kind of diverge down two very separate paths. First of all, before I get down that rabbit hole, I would just like to point out that my playlist has now randomly shuffled to a Post Malone song that I have in, which is very topical. Secondly, the original point I was going to make is that this is where our brains kind of diverge, where it's you're I don't think I'm going to need it, but I want to have it in case I do, with gas mask and armor and all that shit. And in my brain, I'm I don't think I'm ever going to need that. I don't
Right.
see the point of owning any of that shit. And if a nuke were falling on the US right now within driving distance of me, I would just drive towards it.
Yeah,
be
you don't
immediately
want to potentially survive the nightmare
Yeah,
scenarios where you
so-
need it.
Yeah, so this is where our brains diverge. But the more important point isn't driving towards the nuke and not wanting to be in the situation at all. The more important point for me is I just don't really see the point in having the body armor in the first place because it just seems like a crazy hypothetical scenario where you would ever need it at all. I guess that's where I have difficulty understanding.
Well, allow
why
me
a
to
bundle
assuage
is
your
different.
fears. I also acknowledge that it's a crazy hypothetical that is
Right, that's
extremely
why you
unlikely.
yourself literally just said I'm paranoid, which shows that you have an understanding of the fact that you probably
Right.
don't.
I don't no need certainly not want yeah and it's mostly I think purchase justification to myself in that it's like yeah my life is worth this much but it's worth this much for a very specific threat that is likely to never happen in multiple lifetimes at least of mine. So I
Yeah.
but so then it loops back to the initial thing where it's like I just think this stuff is cool and I could also use it as a weight training vest. So I mean there's that. CrossFit is actually that
Uh,
that's something I learned that was really funny. So this is a little side story is that CrossFit loves the stuff so much that professional like military vest makers like 511 are releasing brands just to carry weights and to cash in on that market.
Interesting.
I understand. I like it as well. I
You
am
do.
not going to get it because
I've got another friend going down the crazy hole.
yeah, no, trust me. I in this regard, I would go down the crazy hole with Anthony, but I am constrained by things like I don't have the cash. I don't have the money to do it. I have too much stuff to worry about financially. That being said, I mean, I don't care if it's on recording. I think we're probably going to be using this at some point
Oh,
within
God.
the next 10 years.
Oh,
He
you
is he is further down the rabbit hole. He's just
see,
doesn't have
yeah,
the money.
the secret of this friend group is that Richie's hidden crazy.
Yeah.
Even
That's true.
I wear
possibly
my
more so-
crazy on my sleeve.
Yeah,
You know what
but
you're getting with me.
possibly even worse than you, because this guy's over here like, no, I need that armor. That will be used at some point. And meanwhile, I'm here sweating in
Well,
my
he's
chair.
also the one that has like straight up been like, "I will be crazy cannibal rapist man" in the
Yeah, but
post-apocalypse.
see, like that's a funny
No.
conversation to have in the hypothetical of the apocalypse. But this is a more serious, tangible thing where physical items are being purchased in the possibility of them needing to be
You
used.
All
don't
right.
know what rape peripherals Richie has purchased or not.
On record, I'm not saying we're going to use it, but the odds of needing it in the 10-year span from today pretty high in my opinion. That's my opinion though.
You're a pessimist. I'm just crazy.
I also like to point out that in the event of the post-apocalypse,
Well, I
I
don't
know,
think it's going to be an apocalypse situation, but
sure, in the event of civil war or whatever,
there we go.
regardless of the situation in your mind that's going to transpire where you do get shot wearing something like that, just bear in mind that that shit is not like Tarkov. You know, you're not the
Oh no.
Terminator.
Well,
It hurts really bad.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
It can fuck you up and kill you through it as well.
well,
More
even I mean,
likely
my
will.
plate is worth 6 shots. That's not even like a quarter of a standard magazine. Like that's scary.
But anyway, my mind goes to I just don't like. You know what? Good on you. Good on you. I respect you for having the balls to spend money on something like that and just being like, I did it. Here it is. Right?
Oh,
I've got a little respect for you there in that regard. I don't understand it. I wouldn't want something like that. I would never spend money on some shit like that. But I respect you for doing it and being like, look at my my armor purchase.
yeah. Now I just need a rig to carry it in. So it's like extra useless in that it's just some heavy plates that are laying there. But
Is the rig more expensive or is the rig the cheap part of the build?
the rig of
I know
my
some rigs can
particular
probably
bigs,
get crazy.
yeah, the one I'm looking at is kind of really crazy. Like almost 10 times the price of the plate's crazy.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
I like full coverage. It's
Rigs are nice. I like rigs as well.
yeah. For the I don't want to get into like the specifics of buying armor, but suffice it to say what's really popular right now is just a plate carrier, which is a small piece of durable fabric that holds the things I bought. And that's it. There's no other coverage. It's a little trapezoid on your chest. I don't want that because I have no medical knowledge, so I want something that covers my body. So it's cool that my vitals are safe, but I still don't want to take a round of anything to the gut.
I understand that.
So, but unfortunately, the market, everyone's trying to be special forces, low drag, high speed operator men. So that's what most of the market is. That's what's cheap. It's a lot less material, and if you want to do a full rig, like entry level is like $1,000 plus, and it sucks. It sucks. There's very, very, very few options, and they're all ludicrously expensive. So I
In
haven't bought it
Godspeed.
yet.
Like I said, if I had money, Anthony, I'd be following you. But
You will in time.
no, I won't.
Meanwhile, I
I
sweat
would
in
not
my
be
chair.
following either of you.
And
I'll be
don't worry,
honest.
Rob. I'm not either. But I sweat in my chair as my friends are 2 steps away from LARPing as crazy militia
Why would you
members.
be sweating? We'd be right there protecting you, dude.
Hold on.
No,
Hold
you
on.
wouldn't, because as I just
You
explained,
you
driving
think
into
I'm
the dude.
2 steps away from LARPing?
Yeah,
I
more
am.
like one.
Yeah,
Rick,
I'm on the
you're
cusp.
But all that matters is that there's a number of steps. I'm more like a mile away and still walking in the opposite direction. You know what I mean? That's why.
Like,
That's why the sweat is
are you
happening.
worried that like Civil War breaks out and then I'm like John Malkovich, cannibal skullfucker?
No, I'm worried that you think Civil War is going to break out at all, because it's not. And all my friends are planning for this crazy shit and becoming militiamen. More so, what's been revealed to me is that you actually think it might occur, whereas Anthony's just buying the shit.
Dude,
Regardless, it's
my
still not gonna
statement,
happen.
my viewpoint is that it has never been a higher chance in the next 10 years.
I mean, that's
Brandon's
a
sweating in
vague
In,
statement,
in
isn't
our
it?
lifetime.
I mean,
I don't know. I guess it could be.
I
but-
agree, but it's okay.
anyway.
Brandon sweats in his chair as his friends slowly lose their minds. And
Look,
he
like,
just
you-
sits
you
there and he's
get to
like,
be-
wow, I can't wait for my Biden check to come in so I can buy plugins and shit. And meanwhile, my friends are buying armor plates and shit. And I'm like, what the
my
fuck?
my Biden check is going towards paying off some debt because I got uncrazy things to spend money on.
Right. But if you hadn't had uncrazy things to spend money on, maybe the craziness would be funded.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, and that's the problem. That's where the sweat.
See, but then
It's on my forehead.
then if
Just Brandon, no,
then if
you're
you're
in
right
the
though and nothing
optimal. Yeah.
happens, then it's just like boom, I have it. What's the matter?
Right. No,
Brandon,
yeah.
you're in the optimal situation here, honestly, because if nothing happens, you saved a ton of money, and if something happens, you have crazy people you could go to help.
Sure. See that's.
It's like having a friend
You know
who
what? I don't
owns a
even want
boat.
to. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But
Hang on, this
I'm
is
off.
great for viewers, though.
Yeah,
Is it?
sure. I'm off the topic of
Yeah.
conversation. Go ahead, Rob. You can continue conversating about it.
Why
I'm
is
off.
this though?
It's
Like,
not-
how do you
Go
explain it?
on to the
I
top.
want this logic
It's not
here.
coming from a place of crazy. It's coming from a
Eh.
sense of being prepared.
Is it?
When Anthony, the man who just bought an armored plate, goes, there's
Well, I'm
There's
very
some-
self-deprecating. I understand I'm doing crazy shit, and
Well, it's
But
all.
I'm
Hold on,
okay
wait a
with
second.
that.
It's crazy to some people and it's genius to others, though.
Fair.
It's all perception.
So the people with bomb shelters are, just well-prepared citizens.
yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be?
Dude, if I had unlimited money, I for sure would have like a bomb shelter.
Yeah, 100%. Why wouldn't you? Like, it's just better to be prepared.
a Post Malone apocalypse bunker.
Hell yeah.
I almost don't mind a Post Malone apocalypse bunker as much as like armor and shit
Yeah,
like that.
because I mean, so the thing with the
'Cause
bunker
it's
is
like-
it's
it's
like
just a
hide
room.
away, whereas
Yeah.
armor it is implied like active conflict.
Combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's implied you're trying to gear up to be Giga Army Chad, and it's like, but the room is just like I just have a room under my house. You know what I mean? It's like it feels less crazy to me to just have a room, a chamber where I could hide away from being shelled, which I wouldn't need because I'm gonna drive towards the nuke. So it's fine. But
Why? If you had a chance to live the nuke, why wouldn't you? Why are you just going to?
so I have never felt more vindicated in my life about this opinion than when I heard Joe Rogan say the exact same thing. Not that Joe Rogan is the pinnacle of human mental capability, but um, I was watching a clip of his podcast somewhat recently, and he said the exact same thing that I've been saying for like a decade, which is if like nuke scenario is happening and we know for a fact that it's going to be like society destroying. It's like we are going to be nuked back to fucking post-apocalypse Mad Max town, right? And I know that life is going to be shit after that nuke hits. I'm just gonna drive towards it and be incinerated instantly. There's no pain. I'm just gonna fucking die like immediately to the fucking in the blast radius, and then I don't have to live through that hell. It's awesome. I don't
I'm
have to fend off
obligated to survive.
obligated.
What?
I'm obligated by the meme.
No.
That
Have fun
who
with
I
that.
must become.
Meme becomes less funny when you're living it.
Oh,
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. But
I'll be gone. I'll be pieced out to whatever fucking void of existence exists.
or afterlife, whatever the fuck is that.
There you go.
But you guys will be fending off the cannibals on your front lawn and possibly failing and being eaten, and
Well,
I'll
from
be
what
like,
I hear, Richie will
Or
be
ruling
one of
over
those.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richie seems like he's gonna join the cannibals, mate.
we'll see.
nah,
know.
you know, I don't remember if I actually said I would cannibalize people, but I would definitely skull fuck them.
I don't remember if I said I'd eat them. He didn't say, everyone keep in mind, he did not say I wouldn't eat them. He just said, I don't remember if I said I would, implying that if he had said he would, he'd totally be down for it. He just knows that he's going to skull fuck them.
Like it's more all right. So my whole
Power and control.
apocalypse persona is yes, it's very much about just like perception and control more than anything. So I don't know about the cannibalism part. Maybe if it helped me gain power, like I wouldn't be above it,
Well,
you know, or I mean
people
against
who-
it.
You're gonna eat
People who
hearts
are
for their
against-
courage, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if like I
And
run
the
into
pussy
a
lips.
group of cannibals that think eating hearts is power, I will straight up fucking uh put my fist through a guy's chest and eat his heart. Like, you know, it's all bets are off in apocalypse, dude.
And then you convince your cannibal army to eat the pussy lips because it makes them immune to bullets.
I mean, if that gains me
then-
more power, then you know, it's
Right.
literal Mad Max apocalypse. There are
Right.
no morals.
It helps in the sense that people who generally wouldn't want to be eaten once they've expired would be like, I don't want this guy to murder me, right? It helps your control aspect because they don't want to be cannibalized in front of their friends and shit. You got to eat them while they're still
In front of
alive,
their
too.
friends. Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
That's how you really sell it.
You want some
You gotta,
Kali
like-
Ma shit going
Yeah,
on.
you got to start flaying them and eating limbs and shit as they can like see it, you know?
It depends who you're around. If you're trying to live among cannibals, you must become the cannibal. But you know, you can't guarantee you're going to be around cannibals.
I will take the choice out of the situation entirely
and
and
drive towards the
be
nuke.
incinerated by the nuke. That's
I'm not
I like
looking
how,
to
Richie,
be
you're
like Cannibal
basically-
Man. Like, you want to know my fucking like
You're basically
inspiration?
describing that you will have like scaling insanity. Like when in Rome, you will do as Romans do.
Yeah, kind of.
Neat.
Like my overall goal in post-apocalypse is just emulate people like Negan from Walking Dead, emulate fucking like, you know, like Jared Leto Joker, like, you know, real John Malkovich typey stuff.
people who are listening to this podcast right now. I just want to let you know.
He doesn't mean the actor.
No. If you're sitting there in your chair, you know, the 5 of you listening to this, just keep in mind, these are my friends. This is the hand I've been dealt, and these are the people I associate with.
These are the people you've been forced to associate with.
This is my friend group. This is where I am in life.
Well, to be fair, I mean we're pretty cool. It's just we have our unique exoticness, and it keeps
where I
it
am.
interesting, doesn't it?
Brandon, we've gone over this many times. As long as the world doesn't go to that hell, I'm just a nerd in my fucking in my garage, on my computer, playing with plastic men and fucking playing computer games, and that's all it is, man. Just
like
don't
the
let the world
filthy-
go to apocalypse, because then my Switch gets flipped.
I'm a filthy liberal sitting here amidst
Dude, I'm
the.
all for the socialism. I'm all for the social justice. I'm a very caring individual. But as soon as apocalypse hits, you better watch out. That's all I'm saying.
Did you ever expect to be the normie?
No. And I mean, I definitely am
quiet
normal
almost this
because,
entire
like,
time.
not, and then we've also got, Richie being like a hidden furry as well, so
Excuse
like,
me? What?
normie tag, what?
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 Don't ever call me that.
What? I didn't call you anything.
Uh-oh.
What did I
That was
say?
a veiled threat, I think.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah,
not
that
the
was very
apocalypse,
threatening.
yet, so his big cannibal balls have not yet
You're gonna
dropped.
be driving towards the nuke, and I'm just gonna like fucking beeline dive through your window and drive you out of it. This is for the
Oh,
furry
boy.
comment, motherfucker.
You
You're
have to
living.
you have to see the nuke coming because I'll be long gone. You'll dive bomb through my window and I won't even be in the house.
Call me closet furry.
I
I mean, I've done it before and it didn't elicit this response.
didn't really do much
Good
else
job.
this
It is
week.
true that-
There's one
Hang
thing.
on, this has gone way beyond weeks.
There's
No, this
one.
was still weak.
Yeah, this is my
important.
week.
Important tangent through.
It was
It's not like
my
we haven't
week.
had tangents before.
Slash psychological evaluation, and I think I passed.
Hobbs, and you're a furry.
And the only other thing I did was play Cyberpunk, and something very interesting happened to me in Cyberpunk, where I don't know, it came over me like a wave. I think it's like I finally get what some of the complaints were about, because I was walking around, and then there was like an accident in the game where it was like cordoned off by the police, and they're doing like investigative shit, and I was like, that's really cool. And then it hit me that it's like, oh, there's literally no way I can interact with that. It's like the I've peeked behind the curtain, and it's like I realized I've never been to Moxie's since like the one time that you're supposed to be there, and then I was like, wait, I haven't been anywhere that I've been.
It only hit you now.
Yeah, I guess I
Like
was
100
just
hours in or whatever.
I
I had
was
complained about this with you the first time we talked about it. This is like one of my biggest negatives.
yeah. So it's like, as much as I understand this game is not Grand Theft Auto, it really needs some of that Grand Theft Auto shit, where it's like
Yes.
you could just interact with the world. You could just go to a bar. Yeah, they're different. They're not the same food vendors. Like maybe they have special items. Maybe they're different prices and they're fixed and stuff like that. It really
This is
needs.
one of the things I had said to you when you and me first discussed the game on the podcast, like
Well,
a couple weeks ago.
It's like I was aware of it. Like I was aware that the interaction was minimal, but I still at that time enjoyed the spectacle. Like I like that you could
Right.
see these things and that it seemed crowded. It seemed alive, and then I don't know. It just really hit me where it's like, oh shit, this is just window dressing. This is nothing.
Yeah, it gives you like a facade of an interesting cityscape to like move around in, and it makes you kind of feel like you're in a living open world. And then you, as you said, and as I had complained about a few weeks ago, realized that like there's no like alternative activities that you could do like in a GTA game. Like you see like these bars and these like strip clubs and these fucking like all kinds of places that are just built into the scenery that you can't go in. Like there's no there and I had complained to you once again like weeks back that it felt kind of like false advertising because the trailers had explicitly said that you could do a lot of that shit,
And-
showing moments of like being on a stage playing an instrument and literally the narrator going, then choose how to spend your free time in Night City. And then it's like, but none of that is in the game. It's just do side missions and do main plot. And
And
like that.
it doesn't even need to be that. And I think that's what got me, because it's like Grand Theft Auto goes a little deep, where it's like you can get in an ambulance and then you play Ambulance Man and like other weird like mini mission type
Yeah.
stuff like that. Kind of like Saints Row-ish too was like that. And I'm not even asking for that. I'm like, give me a reason to go to the strip club, because there's not even strippers in it. Like I went there once for a quest, and then it's been deleted out of my mind, and there's not even. Oh yeah, and I'm starting to realize how shit the fucking map system is too. Like holy hell. Like with the little fast travel points and stuff like that.
They're all
Like
being encrypted.
like as you zoom in is only when they start accurately representing where they are on the map, and the fucking
Yeah.
GPS system sucks, and it's
I
just
don't even really use.
ugh.
Have you like been using the fast travel system though? Because like when I was playing, I wasn't really using it. I was
I
just
I
over.
started to use it super hard just because it's like I'm banging through like side missions and stuff, and they keep just popping up on the opposite sides of like the
Okay.
city. So I'm like, yeah, let me go there, do this mission, and I still like that. The game is still fantastically written. I love all the little like actual missions, not the stupid one where you're like killing a person or stopping
Yeah.
a mugging. Those things suck. But all the actual like side missions are really fucking neat and well written and good roleplay opportunities, and everything else in the game doesn't exist, and it's a shame.
I had mentioned back when we talked about this game initially that like I felt that way too, and I kind of disagreed with the people who said that like, oh, the world doesn't feel fleshed out, and it just feels like um bog standard like GTA City with Cyberpunk skin over it. And it was like, I don't really agree with those people. I feel like the writing is pretty decent. I feel like a lot of the little lore blurbs you get are interesting enough to sell me on what's going on around me and shit. It's just that I wish it felt more lived in with like things I could do,
Yeah.
really selling me on the fact that I'm like existing in this world as opposed to just I almost compared it to, and now that you've put like far more time into it than I have at this point, I wonder if you agree with me, where it's like I almost felt like in my first week of playing it, I almost felt like I wasn't really playing an RPG so much as I was playing like an Ubisoft style like Far Cry or something like that, where I'm just like going around the map doing these things and having these really kind of like light conversation moments and like a character specking system, but I'm just kind of hitting these points on the map to do something akin to like clearing a base in a Far Cry game or something like that with like these mild story moments and shit. Obviously not that's not quite the case with the main plot as much, but like when I'm doing side stuff, that's what it feels like. And the lack of like cool little free time activities to do really kind of sells me on that, where it's like it doesn't super feel like an interesting RPG with like a living world like it was marketed to me, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't played many
I guess I can play it.
Ubisoft games, so I can't really make that comparison. But I will say it's almost like a disjointed linear experience. Like if they removed the city interaction at all and you just went from mission to mission, it would probably feel tighter, and you would still get all the stuff of the game that is good, which is, you know, not graphically, but like the design wise, the artistic vision, the aesthetic, I guess, the
I kind of see what you're
writing.
saying. Like that could change though with the multiplayer. Like maybe they make it more dynamic based on
They have
feedback.
to, because if
Yeah, it's
multiplayer is just people in the city and there's no more extra interaction, it's gonna be
Yeah.
even
I mean,
worse.
it sucks that the base game isn't like that, but they got a second shot of it.
yeah, that's the thing is like I don't want it to change just with the multiplayer. I kind of want it in this game. You know,
Yeah.
I want what I was sold with the
Yeah,
trailers.
now like if it does, even be a little salty if they do add all that stuff for the multiplayer, because then I'll just feel like I just did beta testing at full price.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. With a story
Basically.
that people are saying is pretty good that I haven't really seen the entirety of yet. But um, I don't know. We're supposedly getting like free content updates down the line. They've said that there's
Yeah.
like two free DLCs I think that are coming before they even give us like a paid one. So who knows what that's gonna be? Maybe that's maybe that'll add some of that like side activity shit that I would like to be there,
Yeah.
or maybe not.
Hopefully. And then that was it. That was my week. I mean, I did other stuff, but not really anything worth mentioning. And also, it's been an hour, so
Well, we
That is
had some
why.
long tirades.
that's true.
Okay, let me burn through my week really quick because it's not that long, and I think I might have to step away to walk my dog, and then you guys could just do yours um, while I'm gone. I didn't do a lot. I played a lot of Apex, which is fun, and I'm not going to talk about it that much. And I played a lot of
Hello. I was told to provide a spoiler warning. Brandon is about to talk about Valheim, and he says some stuff. I have not played the game, and I honestly didn't consider any of it terribly spoilerish, so discretion's up to you. There's the timestamp. Go ahead and jump.
Valheim, which is the thing I'll talk about a little bit more, but still not too much. I know Rob's been playing it as well, so I don't know if you have opinions that you want to jump in with here. But
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm
and
definitely.
Richie, I've been playing it with Richie, mostly. Me and BB and Richie and Matt have been playing a lot
I
together.
don't. I
Our
don't even think
worlds.
we've touched on Valheim yet in a cast.
No, we
No.
haven't.
No, we haven't, 'cause it's been in the
It's a
weeks.
hip new sensation, sweeping the nation.
Valheim's fun. It gives me when I first started playing it, I would say that it gives me, or it gave me, kind of like old school Minecraft vibes of just like the discovery of everything and building stuff and learning of new shit that I could build and exploring this like procedurally generated world and these biomes and stuff. But it's like a Minecraft. I've heard people compare it more to Terraria or whatever, but it's like a Minecraft with progression, you know, where like, and the combat is just feels a bit better designed because it's clearly aping like Souls game combat and shit like that, or trying to at least. Um, I have my problems with it. I don't think the game's perfect, but I'm enjoying it, and I think it deserves the praise that it's been getting for the most part. Spent a lot of time in it. I think I have like, let's see.
I mean,
Now,
we're talking about it. I'll touch on it quickly. Yeah.
I have 100 just for people, just for context. This game came out within the last 2 weeks, and I have 107 hours in it because we've been playing quite.
Um,
I have
they put out an update like because like they just hit 4 million people who bought the game. The game has
Yeah.
been played in like 4 weeks. A total of 10,000 years in game like time.
People are hitting it
combined.
hard.
Yeah, but while we're talking about it, because I mean it's all part of at least me, you, Rob's week. Game's solid. I'm normally not a fan of like Minecraft type games. Um, but this one's good. This one's cool. I haven't delved as much into the building as like you and BB, but
I'm sure when next we log on, because I haven't played in like 3 days, but I've seen BB on. He's on right now, so I imagine he's changing things while we're not even around. So I'm sure
which
the
is
base
which is such a BB thing to do.
it is a
But
BB thing to do, but whatever.
but I would like to learn more about the building aspect of it. But the game's fun. It's solid. How far did you guys get without me playing these past few days?
I thought you were asking in general.
Uh,
Uh,
Not that far. I haven't, like I said, I haven't even played for like 4 days. I kind of took a break.
Oh, okay, because
Um,
I've been dealing with a lot of schoolwork.
Pretty much the last time you played was kind of the last time I played, like when you were mining silver and shit like that. I don't think I've played since then.
are you guys
We
in the mountains still?
Still, are you progression shaming us?
I'm asking because the last time I checked in with you guys were in the mountains. That's why I'm just asking still.
I mean, yeah, I haven't played for like 4 days, and we do a lot of like I'm honestly taking, and I feel like the three of us are kind of on the same page where we're not progressing that quickly. It almost feels like by choice. I think that's also partially because me and BB wait for other people to be online to do bosses if you're not there, and we just build a lot. Like, and the building's a lot of fun, so I don't mind doing that, where we kind of just explore and like build bases and really expand on our living areas a lot. And the game's fun even when you're just doing that. Um, like I said, I have my mild gripes with the game. I think like some of its early progression is very easy. I think like the boss design is cool. They're clearly going for like Souls-like bosses to some extent, but they don't feel dangerous at all until you hit like the third. And even then, if you're prepared for it, it's not that bad.
I think where that might come from is it's supposed to be scaling, like difficult with more players, but I feel like it's not.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't scale enough. But even alone, like I stopped progressing solo when I started playing with you guys a lot because I wanted to kind of experience shit just with you for the first time. So I don't really play the game solo anymore. I was initially for like the first week. And when I do turn it on solo, I'm basically just practicing like buildings, designs and shit like that. Um, I fought the first two bosses by myself, and they were still kind of piss easy. I didn't really have any trouble with like Eikther. The first boss feels like a complete cakewalk that's just there to kind of teach you how to do dodge roll and shit like that. And even then, if he hits you, it feels like he doesn't do anything, even when you're wearing like shitty armor. And then the second boss is like the first one where it's like mildly difficult if you're doing it alone, but he's still not that hard as long as you come in properly geared and understand how to avoid his attacks and shit. The third one is the one where maybe if you're solo, I could see him being difficult, but he's still not that rough if you go in prepared. So like that's my biggest complaint with the game is it's like a survival game that gave me something like from a Minecraft game that I think I've always secretly wanted, which is really interesting combat where it's like here's these enemies and here's this decently designed combat system that's clearly like aping off something else, maybe not doing it quite as well, but it is better than like a Minecraft combat system or whatever. And like, here's these interesting enemies. They all have like different attack patterns and stuff. Still also very like Souls like, and they'll raid your base from time to time. And there's a lot of really cool ideas, but it's not that hard. Like, I almost want it to be more difficult. I want to feel like giga threatened by these bosses. I want to feel threatened when like our base gets raided and shit. But it's like, it's not that hard, you know, and that's my biggest complaint with it. The progression is just a grind of getting the stuff, and then once you have the stuff and you're geared, certain enemies just die. Like they're not. It's not a very hard game. That's my biggest. That's my one complaint with it. Otherwise, it's a lot of fun. I like those moments where we're like all on a boat sailing on the fucking ocean and like exploring a new biome for the first time and stuff with my friends and shit. Like that's fun, and that gives me like old school Minecraft vibes. Building the base and shit. Like there's a lot of stuff about Valheim I like a lot. I just wish that aspects of it were a little more difficult. And maybe certain weapons were like better designed because I find like a lot of the two-handed weapons just aren't that good in comparison to using a shield. I feel like they could use the second pass on shit like that.
I mean, I think they're going to. They got a lot of updates planned. I mean, God knows they have the funding now.
Fuck yeah, they do. I'm excited. I'm excited for more. From what I understand, like to go back to like my difficulty complaint, from what I understand, like we haven't hit because we've been taking our time and not progressing until like at least 3 of us are on. Like we haven't hit planes yet or anything, and I've heard people say that planes kind of jumps up in difficulty a little bit, and I'm looking forward to that. But like I just wish everything before it was a little harder to accomplish it in. But other than that, the game is great, and I do highly recommend it. I have a lot of fun.
Robbie, have you
playing it
reached
together.
planes? Can you confirm or deny?
Plains definitely from the mountains to the plains is definitely feels more difficult. But once you start thinking about it and you start being tactical, like I felt like you started to have to actually start thinking about what you were doing in the game once you hit the third boss.
Yeah, I feel like that too, but I agree with you, and I disagree at the same time. Because it's like the only reason we had an easier time with it is because I had a fucking YouTube thumbnail pop up on my homepage that kind of spoiled the boss for me. So I was on YouTube one day and it was like, here's a fat picture of him, and the thumbnail was like listing things in the thumbnail that you needed to like effectively solo him,
Jesus Christ.
and it was like bashing damage, poison resistance, like in the title, and I was like, fuck.
Spoilers, by
All
the
right.
way. People
Yeah,
who are playing
spoilers,
the
I guess.
game.
Anthony can spoiler tag it in the video component or whatever, but like that was annoying because I'm trying to be spoiled as little as possible. But because that has been spoiled for me, we went in with that stuff because I just set it to BB and to Richie. So we go in with poison resistance and BB is a mace, and like it was more difficult. Like I think Richie could agree that it felt like it was more difficult than like the two bosses that came before it. Were like, yeah, we kind of had to dodge what he was doing. He was like throwing ads down and shit, and like the fight was more interesting than the two that came before it, and he did still do damage even with the poison preparation, but it still wasn't that hard with like three of us beating on him. It was more difficult, but it wasn't that bad. So I'm
See,
hoping that going forward, the next ones take that and turn it up a notch. But I don't know if they will.
solo, it's different. Like I literally, me and my friends, we prepped it up because each of us, if we find a boss spawn first, we'll just go to each other's worlds and spawn it. But we all have this thing where we want to fight them by ourselves. But I was the first one to find the third boss, so but all it was basically almost submerged in water. So what we did is we literally just built workbenches around it and raised the ground around the boss area to give us stable grounds. It's a lot of prep work, and I think if you prep right, yeah, it feels a lot easier, and I think that's good on the game. I
I
think that
guess.
I think that's good in the game. It's like if you take the time to prep correctly and do the right kind of research, because I didn't know about the third boss's weakness to bludgeoning. We literally just made a bunch of different weapons and then we're just practicing.
Here's the thing. See that I could almost list that as a complaint as well, where it's like it's kind of cool that he is a boss that's weak to a certain damage type, and also almost necessitates having stuff like poison resistance, or he's just gonna like giga chunk you the entire fight. That's interesting. That's a neat mechanic. I could complain about it too, though, because if I'm playing alone and I go in with all my fat gear and I don't know any of that shit, and then he just dumpsters me for free, that almost feels like artificial difficulty where it's like, oh, that's impossible for me to plan for until I fought him once and die. I just had it spoiled for me, so I knew. You know what
You
I
can
mean?
see what I do if you get gibbed by a boss. You just you grab your boat if they're near the coast, kite them to the boat, and take your boat and go out to the ocean and make them go into the ocean.
Make the boss go out into the ocean. I mean,
Yeah,
I typically we just have a portal that's like nearby in the event that we were to die, which we haven't really even had to use yet because I don't think any of us have really died to a boss.
that's my solo idea. That's what I've done. I actually still have a spawn of the third boss just laying in one of the oceans in my worlds because I never bothered to find him in the ocean after I left him
Interesting. That's
to get
fun.
my shit.
They even let you do that. But yeah, I don't know. So I have mild complaints with the game's progression. I have mild complaints with its combat. I feel like it's trying to do really cool stuff, but not entirely succeeding at it. And I would really hope that before it leaves early access, they fuck with some of it. But I'm still really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing it with friends. I don't think I enjoy the game as much when I'm alone, to be honest. I kind of got tired of it playing by myself just a little bit. Um, But when I'm playing with people, I enjoy it quite a bit. And in a situation like that, I do highly recommend it. I
I
even
think it's
recommend it to
difficult
you,
for
Anthony, because I know you used to play Minecraft back in the day. This game is a lot, and I know you like Souls games.
I
The
sure
game,
do.
the game is quite a bit of fun. If you want to play like a Minecraft-esque survival game that is clearly attempting to be a Souls game with its combat and its bosses and shit like that, you might enjoy this video game.
I'll be honest, I didn't really give a shit at all about this
Yeah, I'm
game
actually
because it was
surprised at
like
that. I thought you'd pick it up.
another, crafting explorer game with friends, which is fine. I mean, those games are fun. I played the Forest, and then in your description you said Souls combat, and immediately I was like, huh,
I mean,
maybe I
let
should
me
buy it.
let me point something else out that might further convince you, just to be clear, because I didn't really dive into this.
Hmm.
It is like a Minecraft-esque survival game with crafting and shit like that, but it's really important with the Souls-like combat. But it's super important to point out that I also think this game takes a lot of established mechanics from games like that and iterates on them in really, really interesting ways. Like the hunger system, for instance. I actually think it's one of the best like eating systems in a survival game I've ever experienced, where it's like food items are kind of like individual buffs, right? So
Okay.
it's like you start out and you only have like 20 something health, right? Like 25 health or something like that. And then it's like you eat sausages. And sausages increases
spoilers once
your
again.
what sausages? Who gives a fuck? So sausages are in the game. That's not a huge spoiler.
I didn't say
Um
huge, but spoilers nonetheless.
anyway, so you eat like sausages, and then it's like, oh, my food bar goes up, right? and then it's like as it puts it up a certain amount based on what you ate, and then depending on how high it brought your food bar up, it's parallel with your health, and it increases your max health by that amount, as well as like how much you'll regen health. And you can have 3 different food items in you at any given point in time, which all give you a certain amount of max health, as well as like stamina and stamina regen dependent upon what you ate. So it like wants you to eat like a varied diet of 3 different things to give you like certain bonuses depending on what you're planning to do. And it's not like annoying, it doesn't feel like a chore. It's also the kind of thing where like if you don't want to eat shit because you're just like walking around your base in like a relatively safe biome, you're not super punished, because I don't think like starving to death is a mechanic. You'll just sit at 25 health forever with like very little stamina. But when you're about to do some really hard shit, it's like, all right, everybody, like sit around the campfire, get like a rested bonus. Everyone eat your fucking sausages and this and that to get our health up to a certain point, and then let's go fight the boss, or like let's range out into the mountains or whatever and shit like that. It's a very interesting hunger system that I think is one of the better that I've ever experienced in a game like this. And I could say the same shit about a lot of other stuff, like the crafting, or like yeah, the crafting to a lesser extent, the building and stuff. It's all very interesting. It doesn't feel super tedious and annoying, and it's actually very original in a lot of what it tries to do. And then there's also like the Souls-like combat, which I think you would enjoy. So I do recommend it, because like I said, I know you liked your Minecraft back in the day. I think you would enjoy this game and what it offers, and we're all playing it, so it's like you could jump in with all of us
Sounds.
on our
And then they could call you a cheater.
yeah, because Richie jumps in and just see me and BB toil in the mines all day getting silver, and then like 3 hours later, Richie comes in and makes all his armor with our hard-earned silver, and we call him a cheater.
That's a little scummy, Rich.
Yeah, yet they use my wood to build, but that's okay.
Wow, wood is
Oh
so
no,
hard to get.
wood. Oh no.
All I'm saying is we're playing a game where it's like we're taking account
Hey,
of who
hold
gets
on.
what.
No.
Come on.
Let me be really clear. I actually wasn't I was half joking when I was calling you a cheater, but I was half being serious. I don't care that you're using the resources. What I do care about is that you did kind of cheapen the experience for yourself by not going into the mountains with your gear at the time. Like you didn't get to like have the fun of like go. I almost care more for you, where it's like you didn't get to have the fun of going into the mountains with your iron shit and like
You
having to
cheated not
survive
only the game but also yourself.
but also yourself, where like you didn't get to fight the wolves with your fucking iron shit, and like the having to survive against the golems and have to drink your frost mead to not freeze to death. Like you didn't get that experience that me and BB had. You just kind of
Major
armor.
spoiler warnings.
Sorry, I had to like do other shit.
Well, no, I'm not implying that that's the problem. I'm saying you could have came online that night and then just went through the portal.
All right,
in your
but I was excited, dude. I saw like I guess I don't want to do spoilers, but I saw like wolf stuff.
Spoiler tag it. Just fucking spoiler tag it.
Yeah, I'll just spoil this
Yeah.
entire
I
thing.
saw like wolf stuff, and I was like, dude, I gotta have it. I
I'll
didn't
be
even know
honest,
that was
so
tied to
from-
like that mechanic.
Real
I just
quickly-
saw wolf
Theory,
thing, and I was like, yes.
In theory, Anthony could even record a small audio snippet of himself, so people who are only listening hear him go, spoiler.
I'll be
by the way."
honest. The only thing that sounds like a spoiler is you guys saying spoiler. Because for me, who doesn't know anything in the game, it's like, okay, they're talking about going mining, eating things, and fighting
Well,
Well, I mean,
wolves.
I don't even think it's
None
a spoiler
of
to
that
say
sounds like a
wolf
spoiler.
If you're like me or like BB or whatever, we kind of don't want enemies and shit to be spoiled for us as we go on. We don't want to know about the shit that's like in certain biomes, and I did just name some enemies.
Yeah,
Quite
Okay,
like-
I don't know. I just feel like wolves is very common, and I would be weird to not expect it at some point in any
is
sort of
something-
game.
Which is
let
something that
alone-
be very sodium infused in like the first day that he
Oh,
played
I'm
the
still
game.
I'm still gonna put the warning. Don't worry, but it's trust me. From as an outsider, none of this sounds like spoilers.
To give you an example, Rob came in on day one when BB had just purchased the game and mentioned stuff like trolls and shit were in the game, and BB was very sodium infused with you, Rob. He was
That's
like,
all right.
I didn't.
He is sodium infusedness.
He is. I'm just pointing out that you're fighting for no spoilers, but you did. You spoilered BB pretty hard, and he was a little salty about it.
He's trying to make amends.
He could stay salty all he wants.
Alright, I mean, I'd be salty too if you spoiled that shit for me. But anyway, the point is, like, just spoiler tag it and we're good.
Done.
And the point I was making is, I was just saying, you know, you just didn't get to experience the mountains with your iron armor and shit like that. That would have been cool. Like, it was kind of exciting to go in with just what we had and have to survive.
I mean, it's just the armor. I mean, all right, the cloak and what it does. All right, I'll give you that one. But like, the enemies will still fuck you up even with the armor.
Yeah, but not as easily. It's just science. They won't do as much damage. It's not as dangerous. And in theory, you didn't have to be that concerned, because had you like went in and died, then you could have just made new shit with what we had and went in to get your stuff.
Hell, you could still do it now.
Well, no, now he can't. Now he's swimming in silver gear.
I mean, I could
Can't
just throw it in
take
the
it off,
chest,
yeah.
but
Let's do it now. It's too late.
that's yeah.
You've cheapened the
I
experience.
agree.
It's too late.
I agree. Oh well.
I'm not gonna do it.
I went into the mountains and I think I didn't even make. I made bronze and I just went in the mountains.
Well, look
Well,
at this big dick
someone's
over
got a
here.
big dick.
My penis is so huge.
I only went in the mountains of bronze.
No,
My
I'm
bronze
just
cock.
saying because iron is cancerous to get, and I was just like, no.
Listen,
I went into the mountains
iron.
in
I'll
real life
agree.
by myself.
Iron sucks, dude.
Iron's fun to get. I actually wish the game had more of that shit. I find getting iron to be more exciting than anything else.
It is exciting. I'll give it that. But it was just like, it's just rough.
I can paint a picture in my mind, right? This is where, like, and I have to remind myself that this game is early access, so stuff like this could happen in the future. But I can paint a picture in my brain of like what this game. It's already pretty good, right? But I could paint a picture in my head of what this game could be in like a year or two, where it's like, imagine like, once again, Anthony should. I won't go into it too hard in case Anthony does get the game and doesn't want to be spoilered on this shit. But it's like the stuff you do in the swamp, right? Imagine if you had that, but you just cranked it up to 11. So now you had areas like that were like procedurally generated, which yes, they kind of are already, but even more so with like more interesting environments and like traps and things of that nature and like enemy variety, and then like maybe you fight through it and get to like really cool items and shit at the end. And so there's like a reason to keep doing it, because maybe there's like magic items and shit that you can only get in those areas. And then like I can imagine like just like more replayability inside of your world, so that once you're done with the item progression, there's a reason to keep playing. Because that's my other biggest complaint, is that I see the end coming. Like I see the light at the end of the tunnel where it's like we're getting pretty close to kind of being done. Like there's only like one more biome that we haven't really experienced, and then once we're done with that and we have all the gear that it has to offer us and we've fought the last bosses, like then it's kind of over. You know? And
Yeah.
it's like, even when we've done that, I would like a reality where this game offers me shit I can do, even when I'm done with all of that, like some Bloodborne Chalice dungeon-esque shit. You know? Like, that would be really cool. I would like this game to get some shit like that, but who knows if it ever will. That's my like only big complaint with Valheim, is the progression feels a little fucky. It feels like it's kind of easy to just like steamroll to the end. It doesn't take too long. I think the only reason why it's taking us so long is because of all the building and shit and like the waiting that we're doing to have more people around to progress. But otherwise, I do still recommend it. I'm having fun with it. I assume you guys are as well, from what
I'm looking for the final boss right now. I can't find his goddamn spawn point.
I just can't. I can't play the game alone anymore. I have more fun playing it with BB and Richie and Matt whenever he is on to play. So I kind of wait.
It's fair.
But I recommend it. It's fun. It's a fun game. I recommend it to you as well, Anthony, if you're, because I like, as I've said 3 times now, I know you liked your Minecrafts back in the day, and I know you like your Souls game combat and shit, and it's fun. It's original enough with its systems that it apes from other things to be pretty interesting. Also, small aside before we get off this topic, I think the game is really nice to look at graphically.
Yeah.
I enjoy its art style a lot.
Yeah. They went for a simple look. They didn't go too heavy on it, but it looks good.
I've mentioned it. If you were to get it, Anthony, I would really appreciate your opinion on this because I've brought it up to like 2 different people now, and I've got mixed results where BB agreed with me, but Matt didn't. Where I'm like, the game reminds me of like a boomer shooter with the way it looks. It reminds me of like Quake or like Dusk style art style.
Interesting.
Especially when you hit stuff and like particle effects fly and it looks, and also just the way model detail is, it very much reminds me of like a retro kind of art style like
I do
those
play a
games.
whole lot of boomer shooters, so I'll let
Um,
you know.
so it reminds me of that, but it's weird because it looks like that and it's interspersed with really nice lighting,
Hmm.
which occasionally makes you like, it kind of wows you on occasion because you would think from the model detail and shit like that it wouldn't look as nice as it does, but then like weather effects happen or like lighting will fly through trees at you and it'll really like light the environments in a way that looks really beautiful. There's something you get out of Valheim that's legitimately kind of frightening. The first time you ever experience like being in a boat out in the middle of the ocean in like a storm, and it's like you don't really understand yet like what is or isn't dangerous and shit, and you're just like getting rolled by these waves and shit, and it's really, it not only does it look really nice, it's kind of anxiety inducing,
Mm.
and it's a very neat experience. And you mix that with like the lighting effects when you're walking through the woods or the way trees sway and like storms and stuff, and it's a very,
Yeah.
it's a nice looking game.
I think at least for me, the lighting is crazy, and it brings so much like atmosphere to the game. Like nights feel dark,
Oh, very.
especially in like Black Forest, and just like
Weather
fog.
effects as well. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fog. The fog is a big one as well. Like I, once again, like being in a boat and then like heavy fog hits and you can't see shit. I've had moments where I'm just navigating with the mini map because I can't see like 3 feet in front of the boat. And that shit's awesome. I like that a lot. Or like you're in your base and you look out over the walls and you can't see anything. It's really sick. So even with its like very low poly kind of like retro-ish art style, it still has these moments where it manages via like effects to really wow me sometimes. Some really like screenshot worthy fucking moments. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it, to be honest, other than it's pretty good. If I were to rate it on Brandon's scale of thumbs, I'd give it 1 thumb up and a horizontal thumb because I do have some issues with it, but they're not bad enough to like really fuck the game up for me. I enjoy it.
I
I can go. Um,
A question: will you be brutally offended if I walk away to walk my dog?
because it's very quick, because you
All right, cool.
basically summed up my entire week with Valheim.
Well, I knew that 2 of you,
Um,
your weeks would also
I'm going to be
overlap with
very
that.
quick.
Cool.
My
I'm gonna
week.
go walk my dog
All
real quick
right,
while you guys do it.
my week. Besides work, I've just been doing mad schoolwork. Um, a little bit of mobile gaming on that crappy Warhammer game. I joined a new guild called the Bear Chest Gang.
Nice.
They're a bunch of fun dudes. It's pretty cool. Valheim, obviously. Besides Valheim, nothing. Honestly, I played like no Total War recently, which is surprising.
Yeah,
It's usually
usually
I'm
hit
all
that
over
like
that.
once a week. Yeah.
Um, just haven't had the drive to play it. I'm kind of waiting for news about the third one or another DLC or when the next DLC comes out. And not on a gaming note, I'm going to be redecorating my room. Yeah, here's some adult shit. This
I'm
is what you
back.
come for. This is the wholesome content. You came
What did
back
I?
to my wholesome
Yeah,
content
I didn't even walk my dog actually because I was told she had to go out and then I couldn't get her off the couch.
Nice.
So I guess
All
she
right.
didn't actually
You
want
want
to
me
go.
to recap? Because it was quick. I didn't do
Sure.
shit except play Valheim. I've been looking at 2 games, waiting for updates, specifically Baldur's Gate 3 and The Isle, because Baldur's Gate 3 is giving us the Druid in the next update.
Bro, I've
I'm
never
all about that.
I've never felt slightly more vindicated in my reasoning to not purchase Baldur's Gate 3
Because the
until full
updates are so
release.
slow.
Not only that, but because I saw that they wipe saves in one of the updates. They were
Yeah,
like,
but
"Oh, when this update
you
comes
don't
out,
get
you can't."
you don't get
What?
that far though.
Yeah, well, still, regardless, I don't. Why would I? I don't want to play an RPG where they wipe my fucking progress every time they do an update. So I'm feeling okay about my decision to wait until full release. Game looks cool though.
Yeah, I mean, once the Druid comes out, I'm gonna be all over that shit because that looks really good from what they put out. Uh, and then I was getting to my wholesome adult conversation thing that all our viewers want to hear, and that's I'm redecorating my room.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like completely. Like I'm literally gonna just strip it bare, getting rid of everything, and I'm gonna just get new everything.
What made you want to do that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just
Getting
want to
old.
change, getting older,
I did
want
that
like a
with my
more
like
adult
wardrobe a couple
style
of days
room.
ago. Well, by a couple of days ago, I mean like a few months ago. There was just like I don't know, just
All
a
this
need
gotta
for
go.
change.
Yeah, it's just like I look at my room and it's like it's my room, but then I'm like I could change it up. Like I've had the same style, the same things, dude, for fucking like 10 years. Honestly, some of this furniture is like as old as me.
Hmm.
Like it's time for a change.
Well, good on you, adult man.
Yeah, I'm an adult.
I'm gonna continue to exist around my ancient shit.
I'm I mean, I guess this is video game related. I don't know who I'm going to be able to pawn this off of, but I'm trying to get rid of all my game shit as well. Like my Xboxes and all the games and stuff.
Bro, I can't bring myself to do that.
Yeah, well, you have a lot more than me though. But
Do I?
oh yeah, no, you got a lot
Games
more than me.
themselves or
Yeah,
consoles?
yeah, games.
Oh,
I mean, I only got the two consoles. I only got the 360 and the Xbox One.
I forget the Xbox One exists sometimes.
As if one stares at you,
I really forget.
but
It's here. It's right in front of me, actually, on my little TV stand, and
honestly, like, I wish I could just get my money back because I did not play it enough to justify
I
purchasing
didn't
it.
either. My Xbox One was pretty much a KI machine, and then I played Halo 5, right? That was the one game.
You can't even
That was
remember.
a game,
You
right?
can't even remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Xbox One, right? Halo 5?
Yeah, yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. No, well, Halo 5's not good, so that's why I don't remember. And I played it mildly. I mean, the
Yeah,
multiplayer was okay,
so
but
I might try to like sell it on like Facebook or something, but I don't even know who's gonna want two fucking old gen consoles
you'd be
with the games I
surprised.
got.
There are people who would want that shit.
I mean, Sean's been buying up even older shit. Maybe it's one of those things where you just gotta like hold on to it, like store it somewhere, and like 10 years from now, I bet you those will be worth bank.
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
just want to get rid of it, dude. I'm getting rid of
Just bring it to
everything.
like a
Especially
pawn
with
shop or one of those places that do exchanges. You won't
You
I
pay
might as well
much.
just bring it to GameStop at that point.
I feel like the 10-year plan definitely wouldn't pan out, especially because newer consoles are trending back to like backwards compatibility.
Yeah, you know what? Good point.
So it's like,
Because they're like, wait a minute, people want to play their old games and they're not
wow, it
playing
turns out
them.
people like backwards compatibility. Who would have thought? For all those years where we had it as a thing and people enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's easier back then because like styles like that don't even exist anymore. Like you got your copies, but that's about it. Whereas like, I mean, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they were going for realism, and so it's like that's just gonna age poorly. They'll only age poorly because it'll just be better, higher res versions of the same thing down the line.
Good luck with selling your old consoles, sir.
I mean, I'm not even looking to get a lot for it. I just want to get rid of it. I'm literally getting rid of everything.
I assure you, someone out there would want to buy that shit, guaranteed. There's
Like
people
two
who
two
want that.
old consoles and all the games. Like, dude, if I make like
Just go on Craigslist, see what they're
I'll
going
say
for.
150. If I make 100 for it, I'd be happy. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even care, dude.
I think you could Craigslist that stuff super easy.
I mean, I don't Craigslist. I might as well just throw it on Facebook Marketplace. But you want to know what's gonna be harder to get rid of, which I might as well just burn, are all these like old Warhammer codexes.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good luck with that.
See, these have no value whatsoever. Like, and you know what sucks, dude? Because I went through it because I sold all my Warhammer shit. Like official, my Eldar are gone now. My fucking Grey Knights are gone.
Oh, you got rid of the Eldar too? Holy
Yeah,
fuck!
yeah.
Oh, he said he was
Wow,
getting rid
dude.
of it.
Um,
Yeah, but he only told me he sold the Knights. I didn't know about the Eldar yet.
yeah. I went through and we better be getting some type of sponsor for this. I went through Frontline Gaming and like did
Oh,
their
you did
shit.
do that.
Yeah, because it's very hard to sell that amount of stuff to just an individual. Um, and
Did
honestly, it
they
was
like
more of
fuck
just
you on it, or did they give
um,
you a decent?
I think it was decent. So when you tally it up retail, it was about 2200 dollars of stuff I had.
I was gonna say big number incoming.
Um, just from my Eldar. Uh, and that's retail. My stuff, they were offering me uh like $700, which is eh, but
It's a bit of a loss,
A bit.
I mean, it's $700
but
more than you had.
yeah,
yeah.
Not wrong.
they're definitely they're smart in that I think they are capitalizing on the fact that Warhammer models are not something that are often easy to get rid of when you want to sell them.
They're
So
not.
they offer you a
Um,
service where it's easy to do it, and then
but
they're like,
here's the thing though. I'm just looking to get rid of them.
And get
yeah.
some scratch. The
Yeah,
scratch
like
isn't the point.
Once
it
again, I
doesn't
can't.
matter to me.
We've said this before on the podcast. I still am kind of shocked because I thought you would be like the last holdout. I know it's an old topic of conversation. I've already said that, but like, the day you told me you were selling your shit, I was like,
You wanna
wow.
know? I'm not 100% spent though. I still have my Harlequins.
Yeah, you're not gonna sell them.
Not that I'm not going to sell them, but one of the guys I spoke to at the store where I sold my Grey Knights said he was interested in them, but not right now. So until then, they're still in my closet.
Cool, but they'll be
Uh,
gone eventually, and then you
yeah,
will
but
truly
then I
be
got Matt's stuff because I got Matt's crons and I can't sell those because they're not mine.
right. And then when Matt asks for those back, which he may
Yeah,
never,
you may never.
you'll be out of the game.
Um,
Then he's getting back into it with a different thing.
He buys a new 40K arm
There you go. Yeah.
maybe.
5 years from now, and he's like, "Oh wow,
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. I mean, 40K is dependent, at least for us, mostly on rules. The models have always been nice. So who knows? We watched it turn to shit over the span of like 15 years, and maybe we'll watch it become good.
I've mentioned this already. I think maybe even on the last podcast we ever recorded, or the one before that, where it's like supposedly the upcoming meta is fucking Dark Eldar and Nids hilariously will
Mm.
be the potentially might be the best armies in the game, and I still don't want to play. If anything, that makes me want to play less.
Well, I'm not talking about from like a meta standpoint, like where our armies lay, but like the rules overall could be like less fucked.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of what has been the case, right? We just haven't really delved into it, but supposedly the core rules are better now than they were before, from what I understand.
Well, my week's done. It's Rob's week.
My week was basically explained away by everyone else's week.
You
Nice.
could still talk about it.
I will continue to talk, but basically, other than just Valheiming with my boys and getting to the plains and being frustrated that I've gone to 3 different plains locations and not found the boss yet, um, I have been very excited for 2 updates for games coming in March. The Risk of Rain, the last update, the anniversary edition. That is coming in March. No official date, I don't think. They just said sometime in March. And Legends of Runeterra, they are adding Nasus, Renekton, and a bunch of other champs into the game as their cards, and I'm fucking stoked. Otherwise, otherwise, my week was basically what everyone said. I looked into Baldur's Gate because I realized how little I've been actually playing it because of my graphics card update, and I was like, wait a minute, I upgraded my graphics card. Why is this not downloaded? And then I looked into the updates, and I was like, wait, they just mentioned something. Druid! And I told Rich about it. And, yeah, that was basically my week.
Nice.
Nice. We out. We out of weeks.
Yeah, we out.
So let's start with a brand spanking news story that isn't on the list, but I just read it because it occurred.
Breaking news?
Yeah.
Breaking news. Put in the breaking news.
Anthem
Put in
Next.
breaking news. Woo, woo, woo.
Anthem Next has been canceled.
Wow, really?
Nice. I'll never get to be Iron Man.
Hold on, let me look at this. EA BioWare cancel Anthem sweeping overhaul. Wow. Damn.
Poor Anthem.
Everyone who was waiting for that spent $60 on Anthem, y'all just got fucked.
Or you got refunded.
Probably
I
not.
don't think that's a thing.
But yeah, I mean, what's there to say? Anthem was broken to its core. Nice design, really sucked.
Bad
And,
implementation.
And the Schneider cut of Anthem has been destroyed. So
Rip Anthem.
rip
Anthem.
Anthem.
Rest
Put
in
Anthem up on the screen and just give it a gravestone.
Done.
Not that shocking, to be honest, when you go this long without hearing anything about that sweeping overhaul. I think everyone kind of saw this coming. They weren't talking about it, like, whatsoever. Honestly, even forgot they were doing it until you mentioned it just now.
Yeah. Because it sounds like I can only imagine is like when you go, okay, we have to do a giant overhaul, and then there's no news. That's like, oh, they don't even know where to start. You know?
I guarantee that this is what it was. They were like, oh, we're sorry, the game sucks. We're going to do a huge overhaul. And then, like, over these months and months and months, they've just been looking at, like, player numbers and realizing that, like, no one's playing the game probably, like, currently. And they were like, what do we actually stand to gain from, like, spending all this money and overhauling this piece of shit? Like, how many people realistically would we bring back if we even did it? And they were like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, honestly,
So, like,
if something like, especially to like the core of that game was fucked up, like where the most powerful thing you could be is naked with the base machine gun.
that's one of my favorite fucking things ever, dude. That will never cease to be funny.
So it's like they probably even a big overhaul. They're probably just better set just doing like Anthem 2, just complete.
I bet we're not even gonna get that. I bet
bet
Anthem's
you no.
fucking dead as an IP. Like, I don't think they're gonna do anything with it because now it's got that stigma. You know, like, if
True.
you do an Anthem 2, it's like. Then again, you know what? Let me backpedal on that a little bit. People are really fucking stupid. So if you put out like an Anthem 2 and you made a fancy trailer for it that was really hype and exciting, people would just forget probably, and there would be pre-orders for fucking Anthem 2. So who knows? But I'm placing my bets on the IP is probably in a grave.
Probably.
Probably.
And our next story, speaking of in a grave,
Hell
Vampire.
yeah! I'm excited, dude.
This
This
is
is an
such a
exciting
good.
story.
Yeah. So we talked at length about the kerfuffle.
In like a negative shitty way. It's exciting, not like a wow, I'm so hype, this is awesome, but in like
really,
I can't
I'm
wait to talk about this.
I don't know. I think this is the best chance it has. Like after they got rid of all like the old talent, it's like yeah, get rid of all the talent entirely. Just like if everyone you care about is gone, it might as well just go to a new studio that does more stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's just like, well, Do you want to describe it before we fucking?
Yeah,
let's-
Hardsuit Labs has been canned, and what is it? Pandemic, right? No, not Pandemic. Pandemic
Paradox.
doesn't exist anymore. Why did Pandemic come in my head? Paradox.
Paradox.
Yeah, Paradox Gaming. They're now the developers. And then they
Are
said,
they? Is that a developing fucking story? I thought they were just gonna shuffle it out to somebody else.
oh, I
Did they
thought
say
that's
they're
what it
doing
said.
it?
I thought it said that they were doing it. I gotta
Let me
look at this
look.
again.
I know Jeff Keighley's tweet said, and it is replacing at Hardsuit Labs as the lead dev of the game. I don't know if he's literally being literal in saying Paradox is replacing them, or if they're saying that they're going to find someone else.
Well, I mean, Paradox is what put out the thing, and all they said was that Hardsuit is no longer leading. So until another studio is mentioned, it would just be Paradox generic.
It was weird because when I saw, so you posted the Jeff Keighley tweet, and I was like, all right, and then I went and found the Paradox tweet that they put out themselves, and I read
Mhm.
that, and I don't know, it just didn't cross my mind as like, oh, Paradox might just be doing it in house now. I just kind of assumed that maybe they're gonna give it to someone else, and they just hadn't named them yet, but I don't know.
Oh, that's still a possibility. But for
Oh, here's the line that made me think that. At the end of it, they say, as soon as we can, we'll let you know what the future development team of Bloodlines 2 will look like.
true, that could be
I-
anyone.
Yeah, implying that you can't just infer from that that it might be them. They could be looking for a different dev, or if it is going to be them, they might tell us in the future that they're doing it in-house.
I typed my feelings about this news. So I think this is a good thing, but that's just me being an optimist.
I mean, I
Um,
kind of agree. I don't think it's bad if the product that we have barely seen anything of is
Yeah.
going to be
and
trash.
and I personally choose, because I'm being an optimist in this, to believe that uh they Hardlight was probably gotten rid of because there were some people that looked at the game was like Bloodlines 1 players are not going to like this, and they're not doing a good job. So while Hardlight laid the foundation with like graphics and the world and all that stuff, I think like whoever they bring or in, or if they're just doing it themselves, they're gonna get closer to more Bloodlines 1 or mechanics and things that they know Bloodlines 1 players will like.
That's
So
all. That's all.
I think yeah, it's all speculation, but I am choosing to look at this glass half full. They're doing this for the players, and even if it's not coming out this year or next year or whatever, just give me a good product, man. I want this game to be good.
I want to point out that we literally know nothing. We don't know why they chose to split with Hardsuit. Obviously, something happened where they're looking at the state of the game currently and being like, this isn't good. It's also important to note that this feels like there have been red flags already, like when they split
Mm.
with the writer, which we covered on this podcast, who was an OG that wrote for the first Bloodlines game. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but they kicked him and they kicked some other guy
There was
long before
another
this.
like project lead too. That
Yeah, long before this. This was like months ago we covered it. So that was the start, and now we have this, where it's not only evolved from kicking solo people out of positions on the development team, but it's now evolved to replacing the dev entirely. And it's like, why did this happen? I would like to think. I think the thing, like the two things I took away from this personally, the two biggest things I took away from it is that A, they were like, we're replacing Hardsuit, which means we cannot commit to a 2021 release date. And then they didn't offer anything else. They didn't even say 2022. They were just like, we don't know. We don't know when it's coming out now at this
yeah,
point. And then as a result of that, the second frightening thing is that because they don't know, they're not even letting you pre-order the game anymore, which implies that they're so lacking in confidence of like where this game is, wherever it's sitting in a state that we can't see, they're so like lacking in confidence as to its state currently that they don't even know when it's coming out, and they won't let you give them money for it anymore. That's kind of frightening.
Oh, well, you think this might be the end, the start of them just straight up canceling it?
There are people who've said that. I don't think that's going to be the case. I would hope that that's not the case, that it gets completely canceled. They seem to not be wanting to do that based on the statement. But I do think it means we might not see this for like a really long time, because we don't know what they're keeping and what they're not. Something else that's interesting to take away from the statement that I mentioned is that they don't shit talk Hardsuit, which is probably just PR. They're probably just being like, let's keep people calm. Like the people who already gave us money for pre-orders, let's not concern them in any way, shape, or form. So we don't want to say, oh, Hardsuit sucks and the game as it is right now is a trash fire. We're not going to say that. But they do kind of imply that they're obviously keeping things Hardsuit did, and we don't know how much of that they're actually keeping and how much work the new dev coming in has to do. One would assume that whatever work the new development team has to do is probably a lot, because if they can't commit to a release date this year, there's a lot more shit that has to be done or that they have to replace. That's just like science.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not letting you pre-order and they're not committing to this year, that means there's a lot of shit left that the next dev team has to do. Like a lot. Which makes me wonder, like, what is this going to wind up being? How much of what Hardsuit did are we actually going to see when this game comes out? You know,
Are we
or
still
is this...
going to get the commentary track by Brian Smith?
I forgot about that.
That'd be so good. They just bring him back. Could you
No,
imagine?
it's the commentary track he already recorded, so it doesn't line up with anything because the
Right.
different dev team just did it. So he's just spouting nonsense at stuff you're not even seeing.
Like
On the
literally
screen.
the opposite is happening on screen.
Yeah, it's like, well, it was the pre-order bonus. We can't not give him it, and we already recorded it. So that's my concern. All signs point to, if you have 3 brain cells in your head, and you see what they did to the release date, all signs point to there's a lot of work that still has to be done, because they can't commit to releasing it this year, and they can't even commit to a quarter of 2022. They weren't like, oh, we're aiming for Q2 2022 or like third quarter or whatever. They didn't even say that. They're just like, you can't pre-order it, and there's no release date. We'll tell you who's developing it in the future. That's kind of frightening.
Well, it
to me.
depends on who they name.
Yes,
It's
I would
certainly
like to
in a
think
holding
much.
pattern right now.
I
It's
would
in a
like.
void.
I would like to think much like what Richie said. Sorry, just quickly, like that this is good, because if the game as we know it or we don't know it now is a trash fire, that maybe whoever's hands they put it in next will hopefully make something good. But it all depends on like what are they keeping from the Hardsuit Lab shit. Like we don't know any of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even when they sacked Minnesota, like, there was very little transparency as to why that occurred. Even it's been months now, and I've never heard any sort of follow-up story as to, like, what that was about.
Yeah,
And now it's like the entire team is gone.
it's very odd. The lack of information as to why is the oddest part. Um, both with the old people who got fired and the evolution of it into entire dev being replaced and how little we know of why they're doing that. The whole fucking situation is strange, but I would like to hope, much like Richie said, that this means we get an okay, at least a decent product in the future if the dev that replaces them is competent. But like I said, there's an extreme lack of information here because we don't know what they're keeping that Hardsuit already did. So the state of this game when it's finished is entirely impossible to fucking predict because we know nothing. I even speculated that maybe this is just going to be, maybe they're saying like, oh yes, thank you Hardsuit for the fucking foundation that you laid for the game. Great, everything's fine. That could just be PR bullshit,
Yeah.
and they hand this to someone and they just platinum it, where it's like, oh, Revengeance was a fucking Fox engine like nightmare with no gameplay direction and everything sucked, and then we gave it to platinum and it became awesome, but they basically had to remake it from the ground up, right? And it's like, this could be that. We don't know. Like, we're not a fly on the wall in the fucking offices, you know what I mean? All this
Yeah.
talk of the foundation that Hardsuit laid could be bullshit. Just to keep people who pre-ordered calm.
Yeah. So that we don't start this new development with negative money.
Yeah. That's about my fucking thoughts on it. I just hope
The only
that
thing I can think of as to hypothesize what the hell went on is that something happened internally and a higher up was like, all right, get rid of our creative leads. And then that made the parent company, like even higher up, go, what? What are you guys doing? And then the answer wasn't good enough. And then they were like, yeah, no, this is no longer in your hands.
there's really very little. The only thing you can speculate, and I feel like it just has to be the case. We obviously don't know details, but whatever Paradox was looking at, they didn't like,
Oh, yeah. You
and
don't
they
get rid
tried to.
of, like, literally the entire team unless it
Yeah.
did not look good. Which, to be fair, the little bit that we've seen did not look great.
No, it didn't look amazing. The animations didn't look fantastic. Combat didn't look mind blowing. Like, we know nothing about the story. We only knew that there's like a character that's returning from the original game, at least one. But like, we don't know. Well, we don't know a lot about it. But whatever Paradox is looking at from on high, they were like, this isn't good enough. Clearly, which resulted in such a massive change as to replace an entire development team, an entire studio,
Has
and then
that
not provide a new release date.
has that I feel like that has to have happened before, but like this is the first time that like I recall because I hear projects getting canceled all the time, team members being moved around, like stuff like that.
I mean, I
But like
literally just gave you an example of it.
yeah, I guess
Revengeance.
yeah, that's like it. Like literally just took
Do,
it out of the hands of those devs and give it to someone else. That the IP is worth more than the developers is pretty nuts, I think. It's not often.
this was kind of shocking. Like, it was both shocking and not shocking, because when I turned my computer on, when was this? Yesterday? When I
Yeah.
turned my computer on and I looked at this, I was like, half of me was like, wow, this is a crazy story. Like, what does this mean for the future of this game, and like what state is it going to be in? And then the other half of me was like, I guess it's not too shocking because we've been hearing very little about this fucking game over the course of its development, with these small, completely insubstantial like trailers. And it's like, I don't know. Part of me is shocked and part of me isn't. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think overall I'm in the hopeful seat in
I'm
that
also hopeful.
I don't think like the second you get rid of I like Brian Mitsoda. Everything that he's been in like is known for its writing, and that they like removed him, and it was like I don't know, that was like the biggest red flag to me. And so since he's gone, and in my mind like he is vampire, it going to anyone else is like makes no difference to me. And at least I don't know, maybe more competent people, because yeah, the gameplay looked pretty terrible, but you never know. It
We'll have to see.
could be
It's a
good.
developing story. Like, maybe who knows? Maybe as soon as next week we'll be talking about whoever they're replacing Hardsuit with, and we'll be like, oh, it's Platinum Games, and it's a character action game now.
Hey, here, that's a little
And
fun little thing. Who do you want to do the next vampire game? I think let's get who does Paradox own? Let's see.
Platinum. They don't own Platinum, but shovel it out to Platinum. It's a character action game. You're Zandatsu werewolves with your vampire time stop abilities, with your celerity. Hideki, I want Hideki Kamiya to head development of Bloodlines 2, and I want him to ban everyone on Twitter when they ask him questions about it. That's what I want.
There you go.
Ban them all. How dare they ask questions?
Bro, I can't. This is not a fair question. The hypothetical question of if you could work this fucking thing out to like any dev studio to finish Bloodlines 2, who would it be? Is in my opinion not a fair question, because anything that's RPG related, especially from a first person perspective, I'm just gonna look at you and be like, Obsidian.
Yeah, true.
Just give it to fucking Obsidian or some shit.
Well,
Let them do it.
the only real studios that they own is there's Paradox Development Studio, a Hardsuit, Triumph Studio, which did like Age of Wonders, so
Would
definitely
they
like those
own
guys.
Hardsuit?
Yeah, acquisitions. Oh, they own White Wolf too.
I knew that, but I didn't know that they owned Hardsuit.
33% minority stake, so they don't own it. They
Oh,
just
okay.
own a good chunk of it. And they have Harebrained Schemes.
Maybe I'm in the minority, but I'm not a huge Harebrained Schemes fan.
Yeah, none of those seem like crazy people that would like love to have it.
Who knows? This is a developing story, and I'm sure we'll have more news about it in the coming weeks, because they can't go too long without naming a fucking new developer, right?
Yeah. The longer it goes on, the worse it looks.
Yeah, the more people get worried, the more people start asking for shit back.
Soon we'll know. And then either, depending on who they name, either we get super hopeful or we start sweating loudly.
Yep.
What if they come out and they're like, oh, we are now officially partnered with and are working with Gearbox to, to make Bloodlines?
That's pretty damn bad.
Oh no. Not Randy Pitchford. Anyone but the Pitchford. He's just gonna do
I'm
magic
honestly
tricks
trying
all
to
over the
think of
office.
like some that would be worse, and it's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. Gearbox is good at making Borderlands and not much else.
Even that's debatable now. Anyway.
No, the issue with Borderlands was never its gameplay, the new Borderlands, it's its story.
Yeah, no one's playing Vampire for the story.
So what could possibly go wrong?
Oh man. Next is Robbie. This is your wheelhouse, Ravenloft.
Yeah, finally, an update to a lot of people's fucking probably favorite part of D&D, fucking Stroud's homeland, Ravenloft.
Ravenloft is
Ye-
like the kind of grim, dark Victorian setting, yeah?
Yes, basically. This is them officially putting in Damphir, half hags, and undead into the setting.
Nice.
Two new subclasses, which we're pretty sure we know what they are because they put out some Unearthed Arcana, which were
Hey, not to cut you off. Keep talking about D&D. I'm gonna go take a pee.
Enjoy.
all right,
D&P.
which D&P, yeah, which were a Bard class and a Warlock patron, which one had to do with spirits, and the Warlock patron was for an undead, not the undead patron.
Nice.
But we're getting not just Ravenloft redone up. I think it's something like 30 realms of dread that they're also putting in with new monsters, expanded monster. What's the word I'm looking for? Monster manual, basically, and just snippets for people to put into the into their setting, as well as dark gifts, which were a thing in Curse of Stroud. If you, I believe they were what happened if you died in Curse of Stroud. You could come back as the same character with Dark Gift. as well as magical trinkets, which many are hoping that means more common magical items because people love that shit and they're hoping they're not useless like some of the other ones we have. But with this, it gives a perspective into what they're thinking of. They're putting out all these little books with like little updates, and then they do these big books like we had, uh, freaking Icewind Dale stuff like that, and then we had Tasha's with a big. We had Theros, and then we had Tasha's. And the Unearthed Arcana seem to be getting smaller as they're testing some shit out, and then they're putting out smaller books instead. So with the only other Unearthed Arcana out right now was all dragon themed. So it's got a lot of people's minds wondering if we're going to get the Codex of Dragons in 5e again, which was I believe, a 3.5 book, which brought in all the other types of dragons, not just the chromatic and metallic dragons, but things like steel dragons.
I returned.
Welcome back. Things like fairy dragons, void dragons, steel dragons. So, wow, it's awesome that we got Ravenloft back and getting all these different things of dread. And I can't even imagine what the dark gifts are going to be. And I'm super stoked that it's coming really soon, actually. It is giving into this mindset that they're just pumping out these smaller little demi adventures, updating all their settings, which is great. More content, more lineages, which they're making that more official now with the lineages. It's Tasha's optional rule with all the races that have existed, but all existing races and going forward. It's going to be just +2 to something, +1 to something else. Here's your racial bonuses.
Well, again, I don't know. I'm the wrong person to talk to this type of stuff about because I've never cared about like D&D settings, and the rules have always been solid. But I don't know. I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan.
I'm light on opinions when it comes to D&D related topics, but I don't know.
I think it's really cool that they're updating these settings because it helps with things like Adventures League for people who want to get into D&D, and then DMs for be like, well, now I have more material for 5e. It also brings everyone was worried that we're going to get out of 5e too soon, or that they're going to throw 5e out real early. This is more solid proof that we're going to be in 5e for a little bit longer.
I mean, it wouldn't really even be that early. It's been around for a while.
Well, some people believe that we should be in 5e for a bit longer. Some people want to move on to the next edition. Everyone's like, we need more classes. We need hybrid classes back. We need more subclasses. Like they want some of the stuff that was in 3.5 to make its way over.
Hell yeah. Again, that's
I
one
would
of my
be
biggest
like,
problems with 5 is that there's not a lot of choice. I don't think.
yeah, I mean, I've agreed with you on that. That I don't really enjoy the way
I don't
character
want
progression works.
like late Pathfinder 3.5 where it's I need a guide to even make anything
Oh
halfway
no,
competent either, but more than what it's currently got.
Yeah.
One thing we're also maybe looking at, and this is just through the rumor mill, templates again. Like we only have really one big template for player characters, and that's even debatable if you even get it. You have a template for if you contract lycanthropy, and then one more if you become a half dragon. That's it. And people are like, well, are there going to be more templates out? Are there going to be more stuff that allows the players to have more choice in like adventures to become different things without like DMs having to do all the work? And apparently there's talks about stuff like that.
You know, you mentioning that makes me realize it's kind of crazy for how long 5e has been around and how many books there are. That's pretty sparse.
5e, it's difficult. I'm reminded of it only because we're talking about it now. I don't think about it very often, but 5e is actually pretty old.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while. A good number of years. I wouldn't mind them moving on to a new edition just to see what they do, see if it follows the trend of streamlining and less complexity, or if they take what they did with fifth and just inject a little bit of old school D&D back into it. I feel like that would be a decent to like perfect edition, right? Is like keep some of the streamlined elements of fifth, but bring some of that shit back in that was a little more complicated from previous editions.
The most recent edition, which is fifth edition, was released during the second half of 2014.
That was a
Yeah,
while
it's
ago.
fucking getting up there, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, just make sixth. What the fuck?
Nah, I don't mind them continuing because, like, at least when it comes to that, that is just like books. You don't have to go to a new edition. If you're gonna go to a new edition, then like really shake shit up. I don't want like a 3.5 scenario again.
Like, because fourth edition only lasted from 2008 to 2014.
Still a pretty long time, honestly.
That is still a pretty long time, especially for an edition that I'm not included in this, but a lot of people didn't care for. I thought fourth had some redeeming qualities that I actually like more than fifth,
Agreed.
personally.
I also had a lot of qualities that are not as good, but
I never understood the hate for fourth. I've said this before on the podcast, but like I don't get it. I understand that people didn't like the powers thing because I guess it made it too like video gamey for them and their tastes, but I kind of liked it. I thought it was a really neat way of making like martial classes kind of similar to like casters in terms of their options in combat situations. I thought it was very cool.
mhm.
I actually like that a lot, and it's a shame that most people disagree with me. So fourth died.
Well, it seems from I'm actually reading a interview with some people who work with Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like, well, what happened basically? Why does each edition change, and when will sixth edition basically be coming?
Money.
Yeah, basically.
Why does each edition change? It's very easy to answer.
Well, they say for 3 and 3.5, they were overcomplicated. The oversimplification of the matter. For fourth edition, it was simply because it was very unpopular with people. From the change from 3.5 to fourth edition, people just.
If they try to argue that fifth is complicated, I'll be
Fifth is
upset.
fucking less complicated than fourth by a mile.
Yeah.
By a
And then-
fucking mile.
And they're saying eventually there will be a sixth edition of Dungeons and Dragons or a transformation of fifth edition similar to what happened between 3 and 3.5. But it doesn't look like it is coming anytime soon. Wizards of the Coast seems to have learned new lessons every time they release a new edition of the game and have reached a place where it is easy to think of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition could be the longest 11th edition of D&D ever.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, fifth is very successful as far as I can tell, so I guess they don't feel pressure.
No, and
to
they
fucking
shouldn't,
move on.
because I mean, even my complaints is that it's a little too simplified and it needs more content, and that you don't need a new edition for that. You just need like, the big book of combat tactics, and then the big book of more character options.
Am I like alone? I never understood this. Maybe I've brought this up on older podcasts, but it's so mind-numbingly stupid to me that so many people hated fourth, and yet fifth is so fucking successful.
Well, I think it's just because of the how could I say it? The demographics? Because it's
Do you think
like,
it's just a different wave of people who are getting into it and they
yeah,
like
because I
fifth
mean,
because
most of the
what it is?
people who are fucking gaga for fifth are like, this is their first system.
Yeah,
And
they don't have a lot of experience with like fourth, 3.5, 3.
and then fifth is okay. It lacks a little bit of variety, and its combat is very simple. And that's really good for first person. Like,
Because like really, I look
but
back at
when
fourth.
yeah, fourth, like, it wasn't big yet, so simplicity was a negative. Then
Yeah.
because you
Because
have
it was
all
the
these
core
hardcore
base, yeah.
veterans, and all these books with all these options, and then it's like, what? This is it? Which again, I still liked fourth. I liked the tactical combat by far is the best of any of the additions. Like the fact that every move can push and pull and reposition, and that actually matters, as
Yeah.
opposed to 3.5, which is I run up and hit the dude, and 5Es, which is I run up and hit the dude once a round. It's like it was major.
I just like it's weird because I look back at fourth and I'm like, fifth is like not too dissimilar, other than the fact that they just got rid of the powers and stuff from fourth, which, as I kind of already said, I liked a lot because it gave people like fighters and shit really interesting options in combat that were like almost akin to spells, but it was you doing like fancy shit with your weapons and your body to like move people and like affect them with like status effects and things
Yep.
of that nature, and you could like wing that shit on the fly based on what you felt you needed at any given point in time. Whereas, as you just said, fifth and other additions before fourth, if you're playing a martial class, kind of just boiled down to I hit the guy. Do I hit him good or not? And sometimes with a little gimmick, I hit him. So I always liked fucking fourth, and I can't really comprehend why anyone would like fifth a lot, but be like fourth sucks, because I think the power stuff from fourth is just a really interesting bit of complexity for those classes that just hit shit, that they just kind of took away. It also let you build a character in a really interesting way, because you could have like two different fighters who could pick different powers as they leveled up, and you could wind up being two completely different fighters with like two completely different sets of like attacks, that did two completely different things. And like you kind of get that with the
Subclass system.
subclass system, but it's not as extreme.
Mm.
So
I mean,
I don't really get it.
I think that it is pretty different. Like if you have two fighters and one's a rune knight who is using runes to imbue his armor, and he can freaking grow to be much larger than everyone else on the battlefield. And then you have a fucking battle master who's using different, as you would say, maneuvers and stuff to like finesse his way across the battlefield and do different stuff to either trip or parry or cause one of his allies to get a free attack. Those are very different types of fighters.
Yes, and I agree with you in the sense that like subclasses do something similar to what I'm talking about from fourth, but it's not, to me it's not quite as extreme. I think fourth did it a little bit better, whereas it wasn't just based on my subclass. It was like even subclasses in fourth existed, and when you took them, from what I recall, there were powers you got that were unique to that subclass, and even within them, there were choices to be made of like different powers. So you could have two different fighters who played the same fucking subclass, who then took different powers within that subclass and could still be different from each other, even though they were playing the same variant of fighter. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like it was a little better in terms of like progression, at least in a combat sense and like character building. But like you're not entirely wrong. There's a difference between like fighters and fifth based on what they pick. But I just think fourth had a little bit more going for it, at least in a combat situation, with being able to like build a character. And I kind of miss that. I think powers were really cool in fourth, and I hate the hate for fourth. I think fourth had a lot of cool shit,
Yeah.
cool ideas that died young because the player base at the time didn't accept it.
And playing Pathfinder, which I am told is very similar to playing 3.5, it is
It is.
very fucking complicated.
Yeah, Pathfinder is a little
Well,
too
I mean, and
extreme for me.
here's the weird thing is that Pathfinder is really not complicated until you look like it and it scales poorly, unfortunately, so you do have to look. It's not like you could just pick a class and do whatever. But I mean, it still has the same kind of linear fixed progression as 3.5 and 5e. It's just then it's like there's 18 books of feats, and then there's traits now, and then
Yeah.
also there's subclasses and all this other crazy shit that makes it uh, when you want to get Munchkin-y, holy fuck. But it also allows you to use that and make it not Munchkin-y, where it's like, yeah, I want to be a knight that punches. You're allowed to do that. You just take this feat at this level, and then there you go.
Yeah, it might not be viable compared to the like
Nope.
meta fucking breakdowns that people figure out in Pathfinder, but
I
you
wonder
know,
how second edition Pathfinder is. That's been out for a while, and I've never even looked at it.
I haven't heard a
I
single
I
fucking thing about
the
it.
system itself, from what I read, looked very interesting. It's very interesting.
Interesting in like its good way, or interesting in like it might be shit way.
Interesting in like I'm not sure why. It's like something I'm not really sure because like in Pathfinder 2, I think I've said this before. I had my hands on some of the playtest material as well for when they were first making it. And what it was is like you got like I think it was something like 3 or 4 actions. Uh, People forgive me on this podcast. This may not be completely up to date with second edition. Once again, this was playtest material. And basically, what you did is if you were a martial class, moving was one of your like 3 actions. Hitting someone was part of your action. Then doing something else was another action. Um, so you had like 3 different things you could do with your character. If you wanted to swing 3 times, you could. Those were your 3 actions. If you wanted to move yourself 3 times, you could. Those are your 3 actions. For spellcasters, different spells cost different amount of actions and stuff like that. So, like I said, when I say interesting, it's like I didn't quite. It was new to me. I haven't seen anything like that, and it seemed interesting, but I would have to play with it to get more of a grasp on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to read it to really comprehend it, but
But
all
that
I
was
know is OG Pathfinder was a little too complex
and
for
they
my
got
taste.
they cut out a lot of content from like OG Pathfinder.
Well, of course, when you're starting from scratch, Pathfinder had so much fucking shit because it was just like a kitchen sink fucking thing. There was like so much crap, not just in terms of like player choice, but whoever was running the game had access to so much fucking bullshit
Hmm.
that like how do you start a second edition with all of that intact?
You
I'm
do
sure
not.
it will eventually reach that point again over time.
Anyway, anything
Let's
else?
move on, shall we?
Um, no, no, I don't think so.
Sony dislikes dismemberment. This is kind of a nothing story, but I just find it very weird because it's like the weird duality that is Sony now. It's like they put out stuff like The Last of Us 2, which has some extremely violent scenes in it, and then characters in Naruto who canonically have one arm are given a second arm because that's gross.
Is that really what to
Wait,
say?
what?
Yeah, yeah.
Please explain. I don't know anything about this.
No, that's the story. Is
Okay,
I gotta look up the specific character. Hang on.
but yeah, like give me details. What do you mean? Like in a region? Like in a certain region? Everywhere? Like what's going on?
Um, Japanese development studio CyberConnect 2's president, CEO, that guy. I'm just not going to bother because I can't pronounce Japanese names for shit. Compelled the developers to make changes in the Naruto Ultimate series. One of the characters of the game, Minato Namazaki, was missing an arm in the original story. However, in the final game, his arm was present to comply with Sony policies. So it's SIE literally put out a policy now that it's like
Fuck.
limbs have to exist.
How the fuck are you gonna have characters that like canonically don't have arms
All
for
right.
reasons and then just
I
give them arms?
I want to point out that people in the comments of the article, it appears to be a bit of a shitstorm. There's
Oh
like
yeah,
111 comments of some people being like, this article's trash bullshit because they're talking about censorship in like a 5-year-old game or
yeah.
something. And people are like, but there's been so much other shit that's come out since then that hasn't had this. So like, this might not be a huge story that really matters all
Oh
that much.
yeah. Well, I think in general it is kind of a nothing story. It's just very quirkily weird. Like, why care? And especially if they then like started to not enforce it, why did they care only for a little bit? And it's just weird. It's very weird. Whatever's going on at Sony. And that's basically it. Is like this is a weird bit of thing that they decided to do, and from what I hear, they only decided to do for a bit, which is even stranger in my opinion. Gears of War will never come to PlayStation. I don't know what to say.
I mean, like I said, this article is very odd because it's talking about censorship in a pretty old Naruto game, and like other stuff has come out since then on the console that's way worse.
Oh yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat 11 is fucking brutal in some of
Yep.
its fatalities. Like some of the most violent shit I've ever seen in a video game, and it's like, I don't know. This could be a non-fucking story.
Even then, why does that come across now? Why was this written now? Too?
I don't know. That's what I'm actually really confused about. I'm reading the article and I'm like, how did this come up now? It's like it's February 22nd. This article was written 2 days ago, but they're talking about censorship in a game that's like ancient.
I guess it's maybe that's the CEO's statement was just made recently.
Maybe.
That's
I
all I could
guess.
think of.
It's a very odd story.
Again, from all fronts, it's an odd story.
All right, well, color me confused. But that probably is pretty insubstantial or unsubstantial.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Remember, kids, there's a Naruto character who now has an arm when he shouldn't, but Scorpion can still rip your fucking intestines out through your ass on a Sony console. So,
Well, let's
I don't think
that
it
be
matters.
the next story.
What?
The trailer for Mortal
Oh
Kombat.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's a segue.
It looks sick. My
It
opinion.
does. It does look kind of cool. I think the way I described it when did I talk to you about this?
Who is you?
I think I did. Richie, I
Maybe?
think, when we were playing Valheim. I think we talked about the trailer, and I think what I had said to you at the time, or maybe it was BB. I think it was you. I don't remember. But what I said at the time was, it looks like it's going to be. It might not be bad. It looks like it might be like schlock good.
Oh, it's gonna be schlock. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be schlock, but it might be good schlock. Like good cheesy
Can I
schlock.
interrupt you just for a minute to just
absolutely.
One part that I thought was extremely hysterical about the trailer is you're watching this because you know what Mortal Kombat is, and
I'm
they're
going to play the
showing
trailer in the
they're
background.
showing all these scenes, and then at the one point where like Sub-Zero's already has been featured in multiple scenes of the trailer, they'd be like, Sub-Zero. It's like, really? Who didn't know that was him until that specific point? Like,
I am so. His voice sounds cool.
yeah.
I like what they did to the voice modulation. It doesn't sound. He doesn't sound like Noob Saibot, like Monster Man voice from MK11 or anything dumb like that.
I watched it with my father, and he hated it. The one thing that he thought was really cool was when Sub-Zero froze the blood and then stabbed with it.
Yes,
He
that was
like,
very cool.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
But we'll see where this falls on the Mortal Kombat cinema scale. Is it going to be a Mortal Kombat 1
Listen,
or
it doesn't have a high bar to cross.
The trailer, the way they cut the trailer, it does not do the movies. Does not do the movie that many favors though, because there's a moment in the beginning where there's a line of dialogue with the guy who I assume is supposed to be the Liu Kang of the movie, and he's got the dragon on him, right? And the girl's like, it's a birthmark, and you hear someone from off screen who sounds like it might be the Jax actor or someone go, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
She's like, "It means he was born with it," and it's like, what is that dialogue? What the fuck is that? Now, either that's just the way the trailer was cut to make that sound really stupid and nonsense, and that won't actually be the way the conversation plays out in the movie. But in the trailer, that sounded so fucking stupid.
Did anyone else get the weird feeling that they were jumping on like the superhero origin story trend with just the way it was like laid out? Where they're talking about his origins and his mysterious path and this tournament that like, oh, you're tied in, it's the birthmark, he has the same tattoo as you, and like weird shit like that, where I was like, that's never mattered in any of the games.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get. I don't know. They're definitely taking kind of a different approach to it, I guess. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch like MK9's retcon and remember how shit started. But like, it is interesting that they're going with this story, this plot device of like Liu Kang is just a dude with this thing, and like Earthrealm doesn't know about anything. Like they're just like, oh yeah, there's all these things of ancient civilizations being like, there's some sort of tournament that exists, bro. And they're like, what the fuck is this? And then I assume like Shang Tsung is just gonna come out of a portal and be like, hello, Earthrealm.
Yeah.
I'm
Fight.
here to fucking take your planet.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero was on Earth killing people for some reason. Like
Yeah.
that's not explained.
Scorpion's human. Everything is like weirdly grounded, but Kano still has a laser eye. Like.
I mean, it's not that crazy, Mortal Kombat story-wise, because like Scorpion wasn't always a Revenant, you know. Like I guess they're gonna delve into that.
That maybe becomes a Revenant in the movie.
And God, my MK lore is not as fleshed out as you guys.
So I'll hit you up.
Is this actual Sub-Zero or is this the brother?
It appears to be Bihan,
Yeah.
like the dickhead Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
he's being an asshole.
So
Okay.
Scorpion wins, right?
One would assume that's what they're gonna do, but they'd have to like kill him and Revenant him first.
Yeah,
And
so,
then
so
have him
Scorpion
kill
gets
Bihan.
to lose and then win later.
Which
Yeah.
I find the best of both worlds.
That's true.
I mean, he might die in Revenant in this. Doesn't he like human, but then doesn't he get shown having like weird fire powers?
Yeah, they show. I'm watching the trailer right now. Actually, I'm like I have it playing on loop in the background with no audio as we talk about this. And there, you see him as a human in a fight scene, and then later on they cut to him and he has like white eyes and shit in like a brief clip in the trailer. So I assume he will die in this movie, become a Revenant. Someone will be like, Bihan did it, and then he's gonna fight him.
Yeah, it could
And
also
probably
be that scene. It's very clearly like ancient Japan he's fighting, so that it could be doing like a flashback origin explanation of like when his clan gets got, and then like but in the entire actual movie he's Revenant, you know.
As someone who, through MKX and MK11, actually played a bit of Sub-Zero and always kind of preferred Sub-Zero to Scorpion, to be completely honest, I really like Sub-Zero in this trailer.
I always prefer his powers.
I think Sub-Zero's, I think Sub-Zero's fight scenes from what we've seen in this trailer look kind of sick.
He gets to
I-
Jax too.
Yeah, that's a weird retcon. No, but I guess it's because they don't have Ermac in the movie, so it's got to be Sub.
I guess. At some point, Jackson Briggs has to get his arms removed. Any lore, any reboot, guess what's gonna happen?
I think I have two complaints. One is completely superficial and may not be a complaint. Where's Johnny Cage?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe he's just not in the trailer. Who knows? But I didn't see a Johnny Cage. They cut Johnny Cage to add this like new guy, right?
He's a new guy.
Wait, isn't the guy in the beginning new? The Cole guy or whatever?
Cole.
I didn't even catch on to
You talking about Liu Kang stand-in man? Who's Cole?
Wait, isn't there a guy in the beginning? They call him Cole, and that's the guy with the birthmark, or is that Liu Kang?
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be Liu Kang.
Well, why the fuck do they call him Cole then? And then
I
he's like,
don't
I'm
know.
Liu Kang.
But
Like,
he clearly looks like. Doesn't he look
no,
like?
they don't even look alike.
But later on, is he not the guy with the headband that summons the dragon, or is that a different guy?
I thought that was Liu Kang.
Well, yes, the guy that summons the dragon is Liu Kang, but I'm saying, like, is that not him just later? Like, he puts a headband on and then is like, I'm chosen one? Because he has the mark. Like, I feel like they're setting him up to be fucking
Unless,
Liu Kang.
I mean,
I gotta find the fucking
they're
clip.
different actors. They're two different actors.
Are they? I'm trying to find the clip of when they got.
117 is Liu Kang, and then because I got the trailer up, and like 30, like 3.
Oh yeah, it does look like a different guy. Is that the same guy in the dragon moment?
Yeah. Oh wait, that I have to find.
It's like 140. I guess that's. I actually can't tell because he's making like a weird face.
I don't think. I think that's. I mean, that's obviously Liu Kang. I'm telling you, they're different. They're different characters, and I'm.
All right, maybe they're different characters, but
I'm
then
kind of afraid because it's like maybe we don't get Johnny Cage, and they have Cole now, and it's like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Maybe the Cole stand-in is supposed to be clearly OC, I guess, for the fucking movie. That's strange, actually. I didn't realize that. I actually thought he was supposed to be Liu Kang, but
yeah,
now
me too. Like to the point where I didn't know what you were talking about at first.
Whatever, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I'm honestly I wasn't really excited for this movie because I was like, that's probably going to be shit. But this trailer has made me be like, it might be good shit. It might be like schlock action shit that might be like, okay. I'm really excited about Sub-Zero. I really like the way Sub-Zero is represented in this trailer. I think he looks fucking sick. I'm glad that he's like a dangerous villain of the movie.
Yeah, he seems to be like
Very
one of the
cool.
main, which
I
is
wanna-
weird
I
because
wanna
there's
see
shots of
how,
fucking Goro and shit.
yeah, I want to see how Kano goes to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd that he's represented as being on the good guy team at first. And then I assume he has to have a turn. It's also shocking that Melina's in this movie.
Yeah.
I had two complaints. One was the Johnny Cage thing. To my second complaint, I actually don't like the way she looks.
Her fucking teeth,
Um,
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I
she
don't.
needed to be more monstrous, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't mind the actress herself, like the casting looks
Yeah,
okay.
not
But
bad.
Whatever, yeah.
if you take that shot of her, like you just freeze frame it on that small snippet, and now just imagine that she's got like actual Melina face, like it goes up her cheeks, and she has like the actual grin, like giant fucking mouth, Melina-esque thing going on. She would look much better, and if the
Yeah.
teeth were actually more Tarkatan-esque and not just like vaguely sharpish.
Well, that's the thing too. In this like reboot, is there even gonna be Baraka? Are Tarkatans even a thing?
I don't know. That see, a lot of these things could
Yo,
be like,
even hold on, like even walk back to that. If there's Melina, where's Katana?
yeah, she has to exist canonically. Who's the chick that's? I think Katana might be in this movie because early on in the trailer you see a girl walking with like two swords on her back, and I don't think that's supposed to be Melina. It
So
doesn't make
yeah,
sense for Katana either because it should be like fans, but maybe they're just
changing it, whatever.
changing it. Unless that's supposed to be Melina from the back, but like I don't think it is. So that has to be somebody.
Also, right, like 138, like that's Reptile, right? Or am I fucking crazy?
138 reptile. What the fuck? Hold on.
I would pop this up, but I won't be
What's
able to
that?
mute it in time. So
You know what's also possible? I just freeze framed on Melina at 135. It could just be not completed. Like that might
that's
be
true.
unfinished
Yeah, they could be
CG.
CG afterwards. Well, let's
Yeah.
hope for that.
139, like that's straight up Reptile, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I didn't even think about that. That's absolutely reptile.
Is it Lizard Man Reptile or is it Guy in Green Suit Reptile?
No, you can't really see him, but it's someone like coming out of invisibility.
Nice.
Probably reptile, 'cause that's the only thing that makes sense.
Smoke.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is just a Mortal Kombat movie with all like the B teams, like fucking Smoke and Rain. Their wild adventure
Let's save them for the sequel.
with Noob Sabat.
Because you fucking know that if this movie does well, they will kill Bihan in this movie, and then it will get a sequel, and we'll get Noob Saibot
Oh,
in a sequel.
I hope
100%.
the only representation of the cybernized Lim Kuei is in like Mortal Kombat Resurrection, and that movie was trash. So hopefully they
Also,
get to
who's
show up eventually.
maybe who's the guy at 147 that Goro's going to like jump punch? Maybe that's Johnny Cage.
He's like a weirdo in like armor.
Yeah, I don't get the armor part, but like he looks like a white guy with like coughed hair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand who that is either. I actually didn't freeze on that. That could just be like some jobber he's about to destroy
I think it fucking turned to soup.
for the sake of the movie. Because you have to. Because when
Yeah.
Goro shows up, he has to do something incredible, right? They can't just be like, "Oh, it's Goro." Like he has to kill somebody or something to like establish that he's spooky. That might just be some dickhead that has to fight Goro and gets munched.
That's true.
And then
Crump.
RoboCop's gonna appear and fight
And then he
Jason.
zones Goro.
That was the other joke I was gonna make. Is like, do you think there's gonna be a lot of zoning in this movie, or just entire
Yeah.
fight scenes of people throwing projectiles at each other?
Yeah.
I
What
also-
happens is you get that cool fight scene between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and it's like really sick. But then full auto variation Jackie Briggs flies through the window and just shooting at them, and they can't get in. They jump, but they get shot, and they move forward and they get shot. And he tries to crouch the projectiles, but he gets shot, and she just zones them and kills them both.
Also, something interesting, and this is why I am optimistic, and I mean the movie could still be trash, but like the longer and the more I look at the trailer, there's always these cool things I'm finding and questions brought up more. Like you don't know what they're actually gonna do because like Kano, I don't know how they're gonna do it. Kano looks absolutely completely normal, but he shoots a fucking laser beam out of his eye. Is there gonna be a point in the movie where he just gets a fucking cyber eye? Like.
Maybe
'Cause
someone
they cut off that half of his face while he's shooting the laser.
That could be kind of what, like with the Molina teeth, where like the CG isn't done yet, so it's like
Yeah, it's
just have this side profile shot of it.
It's every scene you see him in, his eyes look fucking normal. He doesn't have a cyber eye at all. But
Yeah.
then the one scene where he's shooting the laser beam, they cut off that half of his face.
I feel like it just being complete CG. Though then again, okay, apparently this movie's coming out on April 16th. So like can't be that fucking incomplete.
Yeah. Good point.
Less than 2 months. It's got to be relatively finished. So I don't know. You know what my other complaint is? Like we mentioned some complaints, but the biggest one by far, by a fucking mile, is that Scorpion's Get Over Here is limp.
Yeah.
Not good. It's
Little
actually
bit.
really bad. It's like very shitty. Like someone, whoever's making this movie, you won't hear me say this because no one listens to this podcast, but everyone in the Mortal Kombat community should be shouting from the fucking rooftops that y'all motherfuckers need to go get Ed Boon to yell "Get over here" into a microphone, because there's only one man on this earth that yells that shit the way that it's yelled, and it's Ed Boon. And whoever you got to do it for this trailer did not nail it.
Literally just use the same audio clip.
Literally,
You don't
it's
even
just,
have to
just
record
go do
them.
it.
Wasn't that like a complaint though of the first one? They just fucking inserted the game's audio.
Anyone who
I bet
complains
really-
about that is wrong.
Yeah, new day and age. Someone needs to go get fucking Ed Boon to just do that shit, because their sound is very bad in the movie the way that it is right now.
We're gonna get a Lord Raiden fucking when he fucking jumps.
That'd be pretty great.
Oh my god.
I am excited about this movie now, though. It's probably not going to be that good, but it might just be exciting action schlock.
I'll go out and say that it's
Who's
gonna be
even
bad.
doing it?
It's gonna be bad, but it could be enjoyably bad.
Who's even doing this?
What, like directing it?
Directing it? Warner Brothers. What do we have?
Simon. Oh no, wait, no, that's the original. Or is it? Hold on.
Atomic Monster, New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers. Huh? I mean, I don't know who's directing it, but
Simon McQuaid. I've never heard of this guy before. Oh, it's his directorial debut.
Oh.
So,
Well,
hey, that's not a bad thing.
yeah.
no, it's
who
not.
Wrote writers: Greg Russo, David Coleman.
Greg Russo. Why does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I feel like Russo is a big name.
Oh, he's
Greg
done
Russo.
Space Invaders, Death Note 2, and
Oh yeah,
Mortal
not a
Kombat.
lot. I'm thinking of a different Russo. Clearly.
Yeah. No, there is a famous Russo.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited about it. It looks pretty decent. Like honestly, I was expecting this movie to just be garbage. To be honest, I didn't have high expectations for this. If the trailer accomplished anything, it's that it got me at least mildly hopeful that it might still be bad, but it might be okay. Might be okay bad. Schlocky action bad.
Next. What is even next? Oh, DOTA anime.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I hope it's good because it's Dota and the trailer looks cool.
I don't watch anime, but I might watch this
Oh,
just
Jesus
because
Christ.
I have to.
You don't have
Devin.
to.
Dota.
I have to. It's,
What if this
it's
is
Dota
this is
lore,
the
dude.
gateway?
It's a Dota lord.
My favorite thing about this was BB reading people's YouTube comments on this trailer and being like, when's the moment in the anime that when Dragon Knight just starts yelling toxic shit at Mirana because she's missing all of her arrows and shit like that, had me laughing.
The only thing that I didn't like about the design was just they make Invoker look like he has a weird forehead.
Yeah, I like that Invoker's in it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, he's cool. I'm glad he's in it, and his voice actor is good. I just think his face is a little off. But that's just like here or there, you know.
They're
Not-
like very clearly not using the voice actors from the game,
Well,
right?
no,
Like Invoker does not sound like,
no, not at all.
yeah. And I don't recall how Mirana sounded in the trailer, but I'm pretty sure she was not game voice Mirana. And you obviously can't have the guy who voices DK voice DK because he's like not DK yet in the anime. Like he is, but he's not. That was something I found weird. I'm interested to watch this because I want to understand why he's calling himself Dragon Knight. He's not Dragon Knight yet. Like that feels like a bit of a retcon where it's like, because the whole reason why he was Dragon Knight, I'm pretty sure I'd have to go in game and reread his lore blurb, but it was because he like gets possessed by the dragon that he kills, and then becomes the Dragon Knight. And this was something I was talking about with BB, where it's like, there are small like no one plays MOBAs and gives a fuck about the lore, typically, but there are small snippets of Dota's backstory for its characters that I actually think is pretty cool. And Dragon Knight was one of them, where the whole concept is that he's this guy who's like a knight that hunts dragons, and then one day he kills one, but in doing so, it like possesses him, and there's this mystery to it where it's like, is he just a guy who has like the girth of a dragon inside of him, or is the dragon just him now and he's no longer himself? You know, that's kind of a cool mystery to his backstory that this anime is very likely going to ruin and just explain it, and that kind of sucks.
Do you think?
Probably.
I don't know. I
I
also
don't think by the
didn't-
end of this they're gonna like make it extremely clear that it's
I
like
don't know.
the dragon is him and he's not himself anymore, or like they're one and the same, and they're gonna explain
I
it.
also for the amount of
He's gonna
hours
get knocked
I have in
down, and the
Dota,
dragon's
I
gonna
actually
walk.
am not that familiar with the lore of the backstory of heroes.
He's gonna get
Was
knocked down.
Luna a part of the backstory? Because Luna's in this.
Luna's tied to Mirana. They're like part of the same thing. In fact, I believe Luna's whole backstory was Luna was actually like a bandit, like a horrible murderer, like raider that one day almost died on like the field of battle doing some horrendous shit, and then Mirana comes and like scoops her up and basically like forms her into a decent person who just worships the same god now. So that's why she's like intertwined with Mirana, which is probably why she's in this, because
Oh yeah,
Mirana's in it.
and 0 out of 10, Luna does not have her Irish accent,
God, that's true. Holy fuck.
Scottish or whatever it's supposed to be.
You're not wrong. I didn't realize that. Damn.
My joke was gonna be Dragon Knight gets knocked down, and then standing over him is the dragon. Goes, "Wake the fuck up, samurai!" And it's Keanu Reeves.
Oh god. Is your mic having difficulties, sir? I hear it popping a little bit.
Who's?
Anthony's.
I do
You don't
hear
hear him
the
like cutting
popping.
just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I heard it. I just didn't know it was him. Whatever, but like
I also hear it though, so I'm not sure if it is
I
me.
hope it's good, because if it's good, maybe we get more, and maybe BB gets his dream, which is also secretly mine, where I just watch Tusk and Bristleback just punch each other.
Yeah, that was my joke. It was that the next fucking season of this shit is gonna be the great backstory of the Tusk Bristleback fist fight. You go from this grand adventure of Dragonite becoming Dragonite to two dudes punching each other in a bar, and then one getting really mad that he lost. Might be the first anime I actually watched, just because I need to absorb my Dota-based content.
Oh come on, you've watched other anime, right?
What?
You've watched other anime, yeah? Like yeah, as
Who,
a
me?
kid, yeah. Like
Oh, as a kid, yeah, I
Toonami
watched
and
like
shit.
Dragon Ball and shit
Yeah,
as a
okay.
kid, and like
Yeah.
Outlaw Star and stuff. But I mean, as a grown-ass man that generally does not enjoy watching anime,
If this
I
gets
might
you
watch
hooked,
this.
I'll be very disappointed.
What, on anime in general?
Yeah, if like later you're
It's
talking about like Gaon or some shit.
it's very likely not going to. I just want to watch this because it's Dota based story
Just letting you
content. I
know,
think
I'd be
it's kind of
very
cool.
upset.
Don't worry, it's not going to.
Uh, Next story is Silent Hill is seeming more and more likely. Everyone is teasing and hinting and etc.
We've talked about this on much older podcasts. I feel like this has been in the rumor mill for like the better part of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much since we started doing this podcast was people talking about how there's like a Silent Hill project in the works somewhere, and then we've had really weird
Pyramid
evolutions.
pencils.
Weird evolutions of the story where like Konami came out themselves and were like, "No, we're not doing it, guys. Everyone shut the fuck up." And then other people were like, "No, but they totally are." And then like artists and shit coming out and being like, "I'm working on a cool thing," and then tweeting pictures of Silent Hill signs and shit, and like no one knows what the fuck is going on. And now we've had two more developments where some guy is apparently saying that people are apparently reporting that Konami's totally down with farming shit out to other studios because they haven't done such a good job themselves in recent memory,
Mm.
and implying that there is a Silent Hill project in the works right now. And then you have people like Akira Yamaoka, the man himself, literally saying very recently, I'm almost directly quoting this, saying, "I'm working on something right now, and I think it's the thing that everyone is excited for the most." What could that mean other than it being a Silent Hill game? It probably is. Because why would he say that? It has to be.
Well, what else has he worked on?
His quote, well, I mean, he recently did The Medium, but this is an article from February 5th.
Mm.
The Medium came out after that, but like everyone knew he was working on The Medium.
And that's definitely not something everyone was waiting for.
Right. And he's saying, during an interview, which has actually been pulled, interesting, Yamaoka was talking about his work on Bloober Team's The Medium. He then transitioned into talking about his upcoming projects and made the following statement, quote, "You'll probably hear something this summer to be announced, and I think it's the one you're kind of hoping to hear about." End quote.
Nice.
There's a Silent Hill game coming. Like, I'm convinced now. You don't get Akira Yamaoka to say some shit like that. It's not a Silent Hill game. It's absolutely being made. 100%.
Brendan has been convinced.
I've been
It's
convinced for
pretty
a while
convincing.
now because a lot of the leaks were from reputable people. Like, I think the guy that leaked RE8, we initially talked about this like early last year, was the guy who leaked RE8 details was also the guy that said that there's a Silent Hill game being made, and then Konami came out and they were like, "No, it's not happening." But like, I kind of believed that guy because he was right about other stuff. And now you've got Akira Yamaoka being like, "I'm working on a thing you should all be excited for." He's clearly talking about Silent Hill. Like, there's nothing else. So, also, I guess the popping was Rob, not Anthony. I wasn't looking at the
You poppin' boy.
lights in the channel.
Am I popping?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm like chewing on stuff, so I'm trying not to. I'm trying to keep my face away from the mic.
Ah, yeah, so you're probably just nicking it. It's no big deal. But yeah, it's interesting.
I'm
I
very
hope
excited.
so. I hope it's like that. Yeah, fuck. Even just anything else from that creator too, even if it's like an OG thing or whatever.
I'm
It's
extremely
fine.
excited. I don't think there's anything else. I'd have to go back and look at what Akira Yamaoka's worked on, but that quote sounds like he's talking about Silent Hill. I don't think there's anything else he's done where he would say like it's probably the thing that you're hoping for. Like, him and everyone else knows how big stuff like Silent Hills was for a lot of people and how it sucked when it got canned.
Can't wait to
And
see Red Pyramid thing.
I'm hopeful that whatever this is will be good. The only way this story is bad is if Konami's giving it to some shitty like Western dev that ruins it again. And we're just getting like Homecoming 2 or whatever.
Ninja Theory Silent Hill.
What'd you say?
Ninja Theory Silent Hill.
I mean, apparently Ninja Theory is making a horror game that actually looks kind of spooky. That Project Mara thing
Oh, nice.
that they teased a while ago, and apparently like Hellblade has some pretty interesting like psychological horror moments in it. So, but hopefully it's not them. Hopefully it's just they actually didn't they say? I think the leak. Okay, so aside from the Yamaoka quote, I think the leak that went alongside this story, yes, says that a new Silent Hill game is reportedly in the works from a quote prominent Japanese developer.
Oh, well, there you go.
So this could very likely turn out to just be that the original leaks that Kojima's studio is working on a Silent Hill project after all are actually true.
That would be so amazing. That I think that would be like the best version, even if it's like not necessarily good game wise. Just that roller coaster of the Kojima Konami story, ending up with him just making the Silent Hill anyway after PT was canceled and after he was fired. Like
Do you,
that's just awesome. That's just amazing.
do you remember the tease of the artist at Kojima's
Yeah, that's why I
studio
said
with the
pyramid
pencil?
pencil at the start. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's not like there haven't been signs. Like people leaked it, they talked about it, then that guy himself hinted at it. Now you've got Yamaoka saying that something's going on, and you have a leaker saying it's from a prominent Japanese dev. It could just be Kojima actually making Silent Hills after all, right now, as we speak. We've talked about it before on the podcast, and it seems even more likely now than it was back then.
That's definitely my favorite version of the events. May not
So
happen, but
yeah, it might not happen, but one could fucking hope that that's what's going on right now. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. Even if it's not Kojima, I hope it's like a decent Japanese developer, and I hope the game isn't shit.
yeah.
And it's about all I can say about that. Just let Silent Hill fucking live, man. Let it live and breathe in a way that doesn't suck ass. Please.
Uh, Beyond that, Saudis buy more game shit. Uh, they what is it called? The people with all the money. Um, they got together and they bought huge, huge amount of money into like they don't own or control any of this. It wasn't like a hostile takeover like SNK where they like legit own it, but um, hedge fund. That's what it is. Saudi hedge fund buys into EA, Take-Two, and another studio that I can't remember. Um, so yeah, the Saudis like video games, man. They like it. They're getting
Apparently,
invested. They're angel investing the shit out of this stuff.
soon the games industry will just be a war between Tencent and Saudi investors.
That'd
This
be
is the
interesting.
future.
Who knows? It'll bring something interesting. Something about, their view of ethics will create interesting gaming experiences that we
Their
haven't.
murder of journalists
Well, hold
being
on.
depicted in games.
Oh man. But yeah, it's worth noting. But that's that story.
Kyo Kusanagi is gonna punch off a journalist's limbs.
I still think
KOF 15.
the funniest thing is just my hands would be stained.
With the
beard. Oh man.
That's so dark. I don't even want to go down this road.
Too late. We're there, and we're taking a turn onto Guilty Gear Lane. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
There's a beta.
What do you got to say about
None
it?
of us have
Beta happened.
fucking. Well, I don't have PS4, so I can't play it, and that sucks.
Nor do I.
I would really like to get my hands on this. It looks great. It looks fantastic.
It does. That's you and me have talked a little bit about this in text form before today. My biggest takeaway from watching it be played, I've been watching it a lot actually. A lot of YouTube content. I've caught pretty much all of Maximilian's streams when he's been playing it. practically practicing without actually being hands-on with the game. So I like watching people who are good with Geo and just kind of seeing what combos are like before I actually get hands-on with it. My biggest takeaway is that it looks fun. I think most of my concerns have kind of flown out the window. I think they already had a while back, like the whole joke of, haha, it's Street Fighter 5. Kind of died even before this, just with like more of like information coming out about it. But now watching it be played a lot, I am pretty happy with it. And I think it looks a lot of fun. It looks fast. It looks certainly like character-based execution is a bit lower than it was in like Rev 2, which isn't necessarily bad, but core game systems are a little more complex with like the way you can use RC. And the game just looks fun. It looks good. It looks like it's got some fucking balance issues. I don't know if you've seen that at
No,
all.
not really.
I mean, apparently everyone's pre-release tier lists are in.
Oh God, already?
And it seems to be the opinion of the community that Potemkin is fucking OP. And is definitely meta. And May is fucking OP and is absolutely top tier. And Axel is fucking annoying and is definitely top tier. There was a and Ramlethal is definitely top tier.
Neat.
But more than all of them is Potemkin. Like, Potemkin looks gross. He's better in this game than he has ever been in any Guilty Gear previously, because it turns out that when you crank the fucking when you lower character complexity pretty much across the board and then crank damage up to fucking 11, and Potemkin does like half of Chip's health in like 2 normals, that he's really good. He's like extremely good.
I've heard that Chip is in dire straits in this game.
Chip is not good. Chip is like bottom tier at the moment because of kind of what I just said. Like, damage is up across the board, and Chip, for some reason, they stuck with the core design philosophy of keeping his health lower than everyone else's, which would be cool if he had tools to compensate, or if the game's damage wasn't so fucking high, just in general. So he melts. Especially in like the Potemkin, like Potemkin does a fuckload of damage as it is, but if you watch him hit Chip like 3 times and half Chip's health is gone, there's a fucking problem, dude.
Yeah.
Like Potemkin's too strong against everybody. It's especially fucked up when you watch him beat on Chip. But yeah, that's like the biggest takeaway, is that Potemkin's fucking meta, which is kind of insane because he never really was, to my knowledge, in older Guilty Gears.
Generally, it's weird for the grappler to be in like high tiers in like fighting games at all.
It's like I said, dude. Like, you cranked it. Like, just go watch some matches from the beta.
I just sent you a video that is pretty freaking hysterical.
Go watch Go to Justin Wong's YouTube channel.
I'm just gonna
and
upload
watch
it
him
to
play
the cast because it's a very funny video to me.
Hold on, let me watch this really quick. Is he just spamming these normals?
Yep.
And the guy can't figure out what to do.
Well, wait for it.
All right. I mean, I feel like Nago has tools to stop him from doing that because he has a lot of range.
I just think it's so funny that the guy just like gives up and then he just reaches across the screen and finishes him. It's fucking hysterical.
But for real though, like, just go to Justin Wong's YouTube channel and click on any video that has him playing Potemkin in the thumbnail and just watch him beast on people. Now, granted, it's Justin Wong.
Right.
So we're not Justin Wong, and most people aren't Justin Wong. But still, you'll get an idea of how absurdly high Potemkin's fucking damage is and how good, like, all of his buttons are and how brain dead, like, his combos are to do. He's just so fucking strong currently that, like, 99% of people are saying that if anything changes between now and early April, it should be that Potemkin gets nerfed.
Damn.
Probably, because he's a little too good.
Living in the world.
What did you say?
Just imagine that's the world we live in.
Yeah, where people are calling for Potemkin to get fucking nerfed over
Yep.
like everybody else.
It's interesting because even like in the first beta, wasn't he not good?
Was there a beta before this?
Yeah. Well, I should say at like the demos at like Evo and shit like that.
Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because I remember hearing people being like, "Yeah, Potemkin's whatever," and like while they were learning stuff, and now it's kind of funny that the actual beta comes out and he's just beast.
I know this is the first time like people in the community have just been able to get hands on with it for an extended period of time, and the general consensus is Potemkin is way too strong.
All right,
There's
moving.
other characters that are top tier, like Zato is very powerful, Axel's very powerful, Ram is really good because like she's like a completely different character who looks like 10 times easier to play than she
Nice.
was in like Rev 2. But that also comes with the caveat of all of her buttons are extremely good. So she looks really strong. And May. May is just like a dolphin spamming god. That is also definitely a little too strong. But Potemkin takes the fucking cake as being like way too powerful. And then everybody else I didn't just name are like either 50 Shades of Average or like pretty good, but they're not as good as everyone I just talked about. Like it's shocking, actually, how little people are playing Saul.
Wow.
In this beta, there's not a lot of Saul players. He doesn't even look bad. He just looks like a little more complex than a lot of those top tiers I just named. So I guess people prefer to play the people who are brain
Easy.
dead and give
Yep.
instant reward. Like Potemkin.
And then moving on, because we're past the 3 hour mark, is Overwatch 2 delayed, and also BlizzCon happened.
We get to talk about how awesome Geo looks, though.
We did. Everyone knows. Look at her.
Or the fact that they announced the last character and it's
Oh
not
yeah,
Slayer.
yeah. It was Ino. Shut up. It was Ino, which was good. Hey, it wasn't biking either, bitch.
It's,
Fuck you.
but I'm excited though, because I am gonna play Geo, so I don't need biking in the game yet. I have a character I'm excited to lab on day one.
And I'll just wander aimlessly between characters until I find a new main.
There you go.
Because my main, my secondary, and my tertiary characters are all not in this game.
Don't worry, Slayer, or Raven will very likely be DLC at some point.
I feel like Sin is probably the most likely to get in.
Yeah, or Sin. I forgot about Sin. I forgot you even played Sin.
That's because
I
I
forgot Sin even
generally
exists.
played Slayer. And then Raven came out, and Raven's fun. I love his mechanics.
5 characters in the first wave of DLC. One of them has to be one of those 3, right? I mean, come on.
Maybe.
Couldn't possibly just be like Bedman and then Jam and then like Robo-Kai and then like
Yo,
Cliff and then
I
Testament, and none of those characters will be there.
honestly though, if they, I do hope Robo-Kai gets in because I would pick him up in a heartbeat. And that's that. Guilty Gear looks good. Yeah. So Overwatch 2 got delayed. Who knows when that expansion pack will come out now? And BlizzCon occurred,
Yeah.
which I
There's a
didn't
lot.
watch, so I can't talk about.
There was a lot of stuff that came out about Overwatch, more so than just it got delayed.
I didn't watch the Overwatch stuff.
It was interesting. I talked to Richie about this briefly. I'm like still kind of lukewarm on it, I guess. They justified it a bit more as a sequel with the information that we got. We saw new maps, we saw the PvE stuff, and like it looks completely different to the point where I almost question why they showed us PvE stuff at all when they first did, because I feel like it hurt the game more than it helped it, because what they showed this time is clearly more fleshed out. Like the talent trees are large. Everyone has like 3 of them and they look like fully fleshed out RPG-esque talent trees for like every character. Perhaps they showed enemy variants in PvE, of which there are many, and some of them look quite interesting, far more than there were when they first showed it off. So the PvE stuff actually looks kind of fun to play. I don't know if it's gonna actually be interesting enough to hold like my attention if I get this game for any more than like a few hours. I don't know if it's gonna just wind up being like the events in Overwatch 1 where I play it a little bit and then just abandon it for the normal gameplay, or if it's actually something that I and anyone else would want to come back to consistently. But I do recommend looking at it. It looks kind of cool. I think the more interesting stuff that they showed was related to the normal gameplay. And what they talked about there, which is that Big Daddy Jeff was kind of clear in that he was saying that they want the design philosophy with Overwatch 2 is that they want to change gameplay enough to justify it like being a sequel and being like an entire game. So they're experimenting with really drastic changes to the multiplayer. He then went on to talk about how roles in Overwatch are getting sweeping role-wide buffs. So like tanks across the board will share a trait of like knockback resistance, and also when you damage them, you'll get less ultimate charge across all tanks. He also then said that like DPS heroes across the board just move faster than everyone else. Like they all just have a speed buff so that they can like flank and pull off plays and shit a bit easier than they otherwise could, or more easily than they otherwise could. And then he mentioned the support one, but I don't recall what he said. And then the more interesting thing that people have took away from it is that at no point, and this is entirely speculative because they didn't mention it, they mentioned that Rhine got buffed pretty substantially, which kind of plays into the thing I'm going to talk about next, which is that like Reinhardt has 2 charges of Firewheel now. He can like turn when he's charging more drastically to like pin people at crazy angles from the start of a charge. He can also cancel it now, so you can stop yourself from going off cliffs, or you can pin someone, bring them to the edge of a cliff, cancel it, and they keep the momentum. And they show that in an example where you just fling them off the cliff with like any of their other team members that are near you to get hit by like the edges of your charge.
Neat.
But you don't continue and kill yourself, which is something that you would do in the current state of Overwatch. The more interesting thing is that, so they talked about these buffs to him, and then people pointed out that in all the gameplay, we never saw 2 tanks on screen at any given point in time. So what people are speculating is that possibly, and I don't think they've shot this down yet, is that possibly they might be experimenting with bringing the game down to a 5v5 instead of a 6v6, which would actually be kind of massive. So you would have 1 tank, 2 damage, and 2 supports, but tanks would be like giga buffed across the board to compensate and become these like brawling centerpieces of the team that can pull off crazy shit. And I find that more exciting than almost anything else that they talked about, because that could be really cool to have like 1 less hero slinging crazy shit around, making team fights extremely chaotic, and to make tanks like really fun to play by basically making them far more OP across the board than they are at the moment. That's exciting to me conceptually. So like there are things they talked about regarding Overwatch 2 that are kind of exciting. They also showed off the new hero who apparently is a DPS character with a railgun, which is kind of
railgun's always fun.
It's very how do I put it? It starts off being like a machine gun, and then I guess she does something, and it becomes like a railgun, and she becomes very like high aim, sort of like single shot, skill based railgun DPS hero. But mostly, I'm excited about what they talked about with the tank changes and the possibility of the game completely shifting to a 5v5 format, which could be very cool. So I have more excitement for Overwatch 2 now than I ever did before. Personally, I'm still not like extremely hype about it, but I am interested in it. Is there anything else from Blizcon or any fucking opinions people have about anything I just said?
Well, I'm not excited for Overwatch. I don't know.
mean, I'm excited for 2. I'm excited for 2 because honestly the single player shit actually appeals to not single player, the PvE shit appeals to me a lot. I
Could be
like
cool.
that with your friends, that co-op PvE, the
They're
skill trees. It's cool. I like it.
the only other BlizzCon thing that I'm aware of that I'm mildly interested in is that they're remaking Diablo 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Diablo 2 is getting remade. I think well, remade in quotes. Um
mastered. More
I
like.
we'll see. We'll see if they learned from the shit show that was Reforged. And
Very quickly, make
personally,
sure to buy your offline version so they can't delete it retroactively.
personally, I think now I thought it would have been hard to fuck up Warcraft 3. But I think after what happened with Warcraft 3, I think it's almost impossible for them to fuck up this Diablo 2 thing. Um they were very
Never
quiet
say
on
that.
what was actually changing. The things they showed was just like an HD reskin. All they have to do is not promise features that don't make it into the game, and it will be fine. Because that was really the problem with Reforged. It wasn't that the game wasn't, Warcraft 3. It was that they promised all these features and they never made it into the game.
True.
There were other issues with the Reforged, like more basic issues, wasn't there? With just the remaster itself.
Like what?
I don't remember. That's why I'm asking. But I thought there was more that they had fucked up. It wasn't just that they didn't put in promised features. I thought they like fucked up base elements of the remaster, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look up details.
Remember that like the game itself was broken. I just people were flipping their shit because there were no new cutscenes like they promised. They cut clans. I think the online wasn't working or something. Maybe when it launched, there was some I guess controversy with the textures actually being downgrades from Warcraft 3. Um,
Yeah, like I'm looking at an article.
we own all your shit via our map editor.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I forgot about that. That was fucking yeah, that was bad. I'm also skimming an article right now about the controversy, and apparently, like, yeah, the graphical overhaul that they promised was not as good as it actually turned out to be. It wasn't simply that they didn't put in stuff like the cutscenes and shit. It was also that like the basic quality of the remaster was not that
yeah,
great. Some people I think even oh yeah, I remember that. People were putting like side by sides and being like the original game almost looks better
yeah,
in some areas
yeah,
than the remaster. So like they definitely fucked it up at like a base level.
yeah.
So
Which what they showed of the Diablo 2, I mean, it looked good. It looked fine. It looked like a little HD update. All they have to do is just do that. Just make it HD. Do a little textures here and there, and just put it out there.
I'd
But they were,
argue if that's even really necessary. So Diablo 2 is a solid game. There's a reason
oh
people
yeah, but,
worship it.
it's it's a way for them to, charge more money than what it's going for now.
Hmm.
And, you could make the argument that, hey, there are going to be kids growing up that aren't going to want to play Diablo 2 old school. And, having a little HD skin will maybe make them play. And then they'll experience Diablo and give
yeah,
Blizzard more money.
it's a way of getting it into a new audience's hands more easily, charging slightly more money for it than they would otherwise have to pay for it. I think like one good thing that could come of it is making it like work a little more easily online without having to fuck with like
Yeah,
BattleNet
true.
shit
Yeah.
like that. So like that's a positive. Um,
I think that's the biggest of all, like, kind of remakes and remasters is just like,
online
hey,
functionality.
now it can work on modern hardware without fucking messing with the config file.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I'd fucking cut if it ends up good. I'd play it with you guys if I got it.
Maybe like I firmly put I put most things Blizzard does nowadays into a little file in a drawer, and that file is called wait and see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna wait to see if this fucking thing sucks, and if it doesn't, and the remaster is of good, solid quality, then maybe I'll pick it up and play it. But if it's, I'm gonna wait to see if it's a
There's
Warcraft 3 forged.
there's a dirty little secret I have, and it's I never played Diablo 2.
I feel like you've told me that before, but I have been reminded of it now, and that is shocking and disgusting.
I believe I played I played it for at a friend's house for like I think like just like the first quest. Not even the first like arc, the first quest. And that was it.
Oh,
I think I played more original Diablo than Diablo 2, honestly.
I played a lot of Diablo 2 back in the day.
I
I'll
played
admit
a
I never
I played a
finished it.
distressing amount of Darkstone compared to both
I,
of
I,
those.
I mean I played a shit ton of Diablo 3, but just not Diablo 2.
That's dirty.
Yeah, it's my dirty little secret.
That's
Now
very
everyone
dirty.
knows.
Well, you
But
can correct that issue with the
I could.
Diablo remake,
I could.
remaster. Sorry.
More on Diablo 4. I mean, we don't really know much about it. They're adding the rogue. I was surprised. I still have yet to confirm if it was they were never going to add another class, but I don't know if it was talked about or not.
Yeah, I was a little confused on that when you messaged me and you said something along the lines of like, "Oh, they caved into pressure," and in my mind, I was like, "I don't know what he means," because I didn't know that they.
It
I
was
didn't following Diablo 4 that closely, so I didn't know that they
it
didn't
was it
intend.
was my understanding and still is until I'm corrected that they put out the 3 classes and they never mentioned if more were going to be added. And I
But did they explicitly?
at least when it first dropped, I heard complaints about it. I have not heard of an interview where anyone like rectified that.
What I
But
was going to ask is, did they explicitly state that there wasn't going to be more than
I
what was
don't
shown?
I don't know. All I know is that it was a big thing when it first came out.
Okay.
That there was only 3 classes, and I don't know if it was later touched upon.
Well, more research would be needed to know.
Not that it
Or
super
so-
matters, but I mean, I was sold on Diablo 4 even at launch just because I played so much Diablo 3 and I feel like I'll play another Diablo game, mainly because Druid's in it, and
Blizzard loves you.
yeah, and
No question. Just purchase.
I mean, I played a lot of Diablo 3 and I enjoyed Diablo 3. I have no reason to doubt Diablo 4 won't be the same, so whatever. And it lets me live out my furry fantasy, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why he's buying it. I'm not. I'm very on the fence. I mentioned this to you before, not on recording, so I'll repeat myself for the sake of the fact that we're on the podcast. I like the direction Diablo 4 is going in art style wise. I think it's cool that it looks a little dark in comparison to 3, or at least what 3 looked like at launch. So that's nice. That appeals to me and my desire for the old Diablo 2 style. I don't fucking know if I'm going to play this game. I didn't really have a huge intention of playing it, but if I do play it, which who knows, I guess the rogue is cool. That's probably going to be the class that I would play just from what I've seen.
the rogue looks very cool.
Rogue fits my play style.
I played when Diablo 3 first launched, I played the monk. And that was kind of the closest thing. I mean, I guess we had the demon hunter, but I still think the monk was more melee based, and I really enjoyed that zip around, click buttons, be fast and mobile play style, which it looks like the rogue is going to have.
Yeah, it looks like you can do either though.
Yeah, you could be ranged. It was their way of putting like a demon hunter-esque build in the game for people who want to be bowman.
Yes, it also looked a bit more like, I think it was, oh god, was it Diablo 2 that had the archer? I don't remember what the exact name of the class was.
Assassin?
Was that what it was called in Diablo
Wasn't there
2?
an Amazon?
Yeah, was it an Amazon? Diablo 2 had like an archery based.
I think it was Amazon.
I just don't remember what the name of the class was.
I haven't really played that much Diablo.
I'm like very quickly trying to find character classes. Oh yeah, the assassin, I guess. Yeah, the assassin came out in the expansion with the druid in Diablo 2, and I believe she had like a bow based build. Or maybe it was the Amazon that
Could be either of
I
them.
One of them had like a bow based build that you could do, and it looked very akin to that. Like if I had to compare it to anything, which is cool. I mean, if I play the game, I'd probably play the rogue. It looked like a neat kind of gameplay style that's fitting of what I like.
100% just druid, just mainline that shit.
Oh yeah, because you're a furry, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
I mean, turn into a wolf, turn into a bear, and call down
Yeah,
some lightning.
their thing.
It's all in one.
Everyone's got their kink,
Big burly man in the skin of a wolf.
Are they I couldn't tell from the trailer itself, and I couldn't remember if this was like a controversy, air quotes, at like first announcement. Are these classes in Diablo 4 gender locked?
Yeah, question? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no. Generally, the Diablo characters are like characters.
No, I had to think. Diablo 3 was not gender locked. I would have no reason to believe they aren't in Diablo 4, but I don't remember seeing them. Maybe it's just a production thing, like they don't have the other models done right now, but
We'll check back on that.
I feel like it was a thing. I don't give a shit, but I feel like it was a thing at launch that people were mad about because they didn't show like what are the other classes besides druid? Isn't there like wizard?
Barbarian, Wizard, Druid, and now Rogue.
Right. And wizard is a female, right? And barbarian is what?
Male.
Male? Okay.
And Druid is male.
I feel like there was a controversy at first announcement that people were like, how come I don't see like gender swap versions of these classes? Once again, I don't give a fuck. But something that I noticed in the rogue trailer was that they never showed like a male rogue. It was just her, which is fine. I don't give a shit. But I was just curious if they're actually implementing that in character creation or not before launch. And I wonder how many people will bitch and complain that they can't play.
I guess people, I mean, it's still up in the air, but people are pointing to the class of the wizard is called sorceress, which may imply that it is gender locked.
Yeah, there's an implication there.
And
because of the implication.
Which could be that they're cutting costs because then you only need one voice actor.
Yeah, you only need one voice actor and you only have to make one model.
Yeah.
One set of animations.
Still up in the air. Also, like, Diablo 1 and 2 were all gender locked, but
right, but 3 wasn't.
Correct. 3 wasn't. No.
Right. So it would be an interesting backstep to make. Once again, I don't give a fuck. But I found it interesting that all I saw was
I'm just scanning the internet. I don't know how reliable these are. I'm on an article on blizzardwatch.com saying that Diablo 4 will let you completely customize your character's look, male or female.
Okay.
So apparently this is an article from like 2019, so who knows how up to date it is. But there was BlizzCon at the time footage where there's sorcerer part of the sorceress class. Like there was another option.
Once again, I don't give a fuck, but I just find it interesting because I know there will be
fully customize your hero with a bunch of sliders like in an RPG. So you could make your characters black. Like that's literally what they're talking about in this article.
I just find it interesting because I know there's always that subset of people that will fucking and have a freak out because they can't play male rogue or whatever at launch. So I was just curious if they're sticking to that or not. Looks interesting though. Like I said, I like the darker art style. I think the rogue trailer was neat. People are saying that I don't know if they confirmed this because I kind of stopped watching BlizzCon past the Overwatch 2 content and the Diablo 4 stuff on that main stage.
Obviously, this is a very biased site because as I'm reading, and it's like the new game will give you the option to do more than just change your gender from male to woman, although the dated binary still seems to exist. All right. Unnecessary.
But like, something I noticed people were saying is that the ears in the Rogue trailer might be indicative of PvP. Because I guess that was the thing. I honestly don't remember. if in Diablo. Did Diablo 3 have PvP? You played it obviously more than me.
It had PvP, but it was like an arena. It was like you walked in and you got to duel a person, and then you just fought. It was very
Okay.
imbalanced.
So apparently in Diablo 2, I think there was like an actual, there might have been a system for it or something where like you got player ears or whatever, and people were saying that that might be a reference to that. So the Rogue trailer might be implying that there's an actual fleshed out PvP system in
That would be
Diablo
cool.
4, which would be neat.
Cool. I get to rip off ears with my wolf teeth.
Fucking furry.
Besides
From Blizcon
Diablo, World of Warcraft Classic is getting World of Warcraft Burning Crusade Classic.
It's so fucking weird, man. It's so weird.
They're just going in reverse, which I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because as long as you have a WoW subscription, you could just play on the server. But
So weird, man. I don't get it.
I mean,
I've said it before on the podcast, but it's like the concept of a classic is just so. It was so strange to me at the time, and now it's even stranger because they're progressing with it. It's like,
like, all right,
how far will
I'm
they
not
go?
gonna play WoW again, but the idea of like not so much Burning Crusade, even though I did play Burning Crusade a lot and it was fun, like because they're going to go up to classic Wrath of the Lich King.
Oh, hell yeah, they are.
That's my fucking childhood, dude. Like, it's just nostalgia at that point.
My childhood was just Burning Crusade. I stopped before Wrath of the Lich King. Or
Wrath
I
of the Lich
played.
King is probably objectively the best expansion. I think the community pretty much agrees on that. But
I didn't play enough content to have an opinion on that
I-
one way or another. The
I
only thing I
love
remember, the only thing I remember was I played 1 week into the release of it. I didn't even have it, but I played like 1 week in, and all I saw was Death Knights
well,
all
yeah.
across the sky, and it was
Yeah.
so fucking bland because you would walk into every major city, and all it was Death Knights across the fucking land, dude. It was like every class was dead for like a month.
Yep.
It was just fucking Death Knights,
That's
and that sucked.
it was
but-
like the first new class in fucking I don't know, 10 years. Exaggerated number.
Was Wraith King? Or Wrath of the Lich Wraith King. What the fuck? I have Dota brain. Was Wrath of the Lich King wasn't fucking 10 years in a WoW, right?
That was, I think, an exaggeration. But you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like WoW happened, Burning Crusade happened. There was like only new races, no new classes, and then hey, look, a new class, and it's Death Knight, probably one of the most popular fucking classes.
Yeah, well, of course.
One of the most popular archetypes.
All the edgelords get in on it.
Yeah. And they also, if you remember at the time, Blizzard backed down on its fucking, well, we're gonna make this a hero class. Like
Yeah.
it was a hero class. What you had to do to unlock Death Knight was you'd have to get a character to level 60, and then you'd be given a choice to quote unquote kill them off and have them become
Yes.
Death Knights.
Yes.
And they scrapped it, and there's you can just make one as long as you hit level 60. You don't have to sack a
Yeah.
character or anything.
I remember that. I forgot that, but now that you say it, I remember that actually. I
But
don't know. The concept of progressing WoW Classic is so interesting
yeah,
to me.
it's insane. But it is my childhood, and it's tempting. But I can't play MMOs anymore. I could barely play single player games.
Yeah, MMOs are hard. It's part of why I take massive breaks from Tarkov from time to time, because it's basically an MMO.
Kind of.
And eventually I just kind of
It's
burn
the
out.
same concept. It's the grinding.
Yeah.
Hey, which
Mhm.
Diablo is, but at least it will be new. Keeping it on the classic train, Hearthstone Classic.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Hearthstone just fucking lost it for me. Like it
You,
was.
you want to know what's all right? So
Like
I got
admitting defeat, Richie. That's what it is. It's like admitting defeat. That's what it feels like to me, right? It's
Dude,
like,
I got
oh, we
two
fucked up. We fucked up.
I got two opinions on Hearthstone Classic. One,
Gotta keep my cards.
this isn't an opinion, that's a thought, but yes,
That's
I
my
am down for Hearthstone Classic as long as I get to keep my like classic cards. Like I don't want to have to restart the game in Classic. Two, it's kind of strange because it's kind of you could just play with the classic cards if you like classic. They're still there in the game. The only thing is then you don't want to play against the newer cards, which I guess is understandable.
because all the
But
newer cards are power creep.
well, yeah,
Literally,
maybe
it's ridiculous
power
power
creep
creeping.
and but on a personal note, I mean, on Hearthstone's a free game. It's not like you pay for it. It's again, if it's another way to play the game, and as long as I get to keep my cards, I'm down because I had like an entirely golded out fucking druid deck. So I would like to play that again and not play against the power creep shit. Maybe actually like feel like I could play the game because like if I turned on the game now and used all my old shit, I'll just get trounced.
I have
Dr.
very.
Boom.
I don't
It,
have a lot to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
So
I guess you could make that argument to like admitting failure, but at the same time, like for people that fell out of the game after playing it hard, it gives us an avenue now to get back into it.
This is literally standard versus modern versus legacy. Like, that's all it
Yeah,
is.
I would
yeah,
argue
I know.
kind of not though, because
Really?
it's yeah, because this is more like, hey, we're gonna drag this back to a very, very specific point in time where only these cards existed, and we're gonna force you to only be able to play against people with these cards. Because in something like modern, there's a lot of variation, where even the newer shit is still applicable. You know, I guess it would be closer to legacy than anything else.
Wow, you want to know what makes me feel fucking old? Finding out that Hearthstone came out in 2014.
Stop it. Stop it. Please stop.
Hearthstone Classic format does away with all the cards and keyword effects that have been added to the game since when it first came out in 2014. Uh,
Bring it back to launch cards. That's all it is. That's all they're doing, right?
uh, and the
Barely.
keyword effects. It's for the people who miss how Hearthstone matches played out before Blizzard added Demon Hunter class and so many different card combinations. A classic format is just one of the changes the company has planned for Hearthstone's Year of the Griffin. There will be 135 all new cards for players to collect in this expansion, in addition to
It's like
235
a format.
courses to replace the.
It's like a format that you just launch the game as it stands right now, and then you just click.
I don't know. This article's very short and very vague. I'm trying to find another one. Here, I'm on playhearthstone.com, straight from Blizzard, introducing the core set and classic format. That's a major change. When a card set the year of the dragon. Yeah, 2/9 to 2021. Uh, we're planning to move the basic and classic sets to wild, as well as make way for a new core set. Introducing the core set. The core set replaces basic and classic cards in the standard format and will contain a selection of 235 cards. After set rotation this year, standard will include card sets from Year of the Phoenix. What the fuck am I reading? The core set will be free for all players and will replace basic and classic. Just tell me about fucking introducing the legacy set. What the fuck? Basic and classic cards will join Wild in form of card set named Legacy. Oh, here we go. Introducing the classic format. Holy fuck, why am I have to read through all this shit?
Hurry, please.
It
My
could be
brain is
edited.
full of more Hearthstone than I want.
Craft decks and compete using Hearthstone's original 240 cards as they were in 2014, the game the year launched. Kill me. We're
Nice.
excited to share they'll be launching the classic format alongside set rotation and our next expansion. Yeah, I don't care about that. The classic format invites players to craft decks and compete using Hearthstone's original 240 cards as they were in 2014. When logging in after our patch for the next expansion, your entire collection of basic, classic, and relevant Hall of Fame cards will be mirrored and available for deck building in classic format as they were in the 1. Blah 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 patch in June 2014.
Cool.
And any and all balance changes since have been reverted. If you want
Steps
to,
of it,
yeah,
admit.
so it sounds like I could use my cards then.
I guess.
It says they're going to be mirrored.
Cool.
Basic, classic, and relevant Hall of Fame cards will be mirrored and available for deck building in the classic format.
Cool.
So this actually might make me play Hearthstone again because I'm into that mindless dribble of just turn it on, play a few matches, and that's it.
Nice. Sir, I'm happy for you and your ability to play.
That's
Hearthstone
cool.
again. I will continue not playing Hearthstone.
Same.
Can we get to the really awesome news about BlizzCon before we end?
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah, what is it? Is it what I think it is?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
I guess Heroes of the Storm is dead because they didn't say shit.
Yeah. Literally no word about Heroes of the Storm, and the only mention of StarCraft was just, hey, watch these guys play it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
StarCraft is understandable. It's like it's kind of an older game. It's not like as focused, I guess, on being like a live service title as Heroes of the Storm is, but like there should have been something about Heroes of the Storm, like a new hero
not-
reveal, a new map, something cool. Guess what? There wasn't fucking shit.
It took them like 10 years to launch StarCraft 2 after StarCraft 1. I don't think they should just bust out StarCraft games. But, you know, hey, some StarCraft content would be nice.
It's
I
been a
like
while. It's been a while since StarCraft 2. I wouldn't be shocked if they were like, here's StarCraft 3. Like, I feel like there's been enough time.
Yeah,
Here's
well,
StarCraft
It took
Reforged.
10 years, dude. 10 years.
StarCraft Reforged.
Well, they already have, I think, an updated StarCraft 1.
Yeah,
They
I believe
do.
they do.
That will not stop them.
But yeah, no Heroes of the Storm shit. At least nothing of substance. I think they mentioned it briefly from what I understand, but I don't think they said anything that was important. So it's like, what the fuck's
What
going
I
on with Heroes?
StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void, the last expansion, came out in 2015. So it's been 6 years.
So I mean, it's
Wow,
been,
I need to stop, dude. I feel so old.
I know. I remember playing Legacy of the
6
Void being
years
like,
ago?
Yeah. I remember fucking. Oh god, I remember having that download and being like, yes.
I can't
I
believe
don't
that
wanna
game
talk-
came out 6 years ago. Jesus Christ, end me.
I don't
but-
want to talk about it.
I'm
I don't
older
wanna
than
talk- fuck-
all of you.
Yeah, fuck that noise, all right? You really want to make me feel old? Go look up like the Warcraft 2 release date and tell me when that was, because I was playing that as a kid, all right? You really want to make me feel fucking ancient? Do that shit.
No, that's an
Make me
old
feel
game.
horrible.
It makes sense. When I think StarCraft 2, it's like, dude, that was 6 years ago. Like, oh my god, it's not even that old of a. I mean, it is that old of a game, but like, it doesn't seem like that old.
The
I was
last
looking up-
Armored Core game came out in 2013.
I was watching like Marvel Cinematic Universe clips of like older MCU movies somewhat recently because YouTube was recommending them to me for some reason, and that made me feel fucking old to look at that and be like, oh, the first Avengers movie came out like almost a decade ago.
Dude, look
Like-
at Iron Man 1 came out, dude.
It's
It's
not
crazy.
It's not okay, dude.
Fucking crazy.
It's really not okay.
In my week, I talked about like my redecorating my room. I feel like I need to hang myself from a tree because I'm at the point in my life where the thought of redecorating my room is exciting.
Yeah, that's when death should be coming around the corner.
Like I'm getting jazzed thinking about picking out new blinds. Like just
All right,
fucking end
well,
me, Brandon.
Okay,
End
and this.
me.
I don't want to talk about this. The podcast is over. Podcast is over. We're done. I don't want to talk about the excitement of picking up blinds. I can't.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
I can't be thinking about that
I
shit.
broke
I can't. I can't be doing that. We're not 40 yet. I can't be doing that. Fuck all of you.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
I hate everyone, especially Richie.